Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast. I didn't make up the intro. It was real. It just took a long time to get right, and there it is.
I love that intro.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
I am super in love with it. I watched it so many times.
Yeah, I've personally seen, I think, 10 revisions of it, and I'm pretty sure there was more than that. We're just getting really, really picky about sound design and things like that, but yeah, that's a great intro, actually. For those who don't know, Sabertoons, the fellow who we discovered doing, he did a couple of fan animations for Co-Optional, and we decided, all right, let's convince Polaris to hire him. And one, because that means he'll make my video without me having to pay him, which was a score, I might add, by the way. So we tricked Co-Optional and paying for the intro, and they're also doing, at the moment, weekly animated episodes. I don't know if they're actually going to be weekly. I don't know how long they take to make.
Oh, they should be. They're so good. I know.
They are pretty good, yeah. The latest one
is really, really funny.
Yeah, you can find that. The latest one is up right now, folks, if you haven't seen it. If you're watching the VOD right now, then it was 2 days ago. So youtube.com/Polaris, look for Co-Optional Animated. It was... what I liked about that one is he kind of made an original story out of it, because otherwise you've got to look for a cohesive 2-minute story somewhere in the podcast, which is difficult enough in and of itself. But no, he was able to take some clips and put together a pretty funny story, so hopefully people enjoyed that. And for those who don't know, the person that composed our intro song is Miracle of Sound, youtube.com/Miracle of Sound. There's also an extended version of it on his latest album, Level 4. So there you go.
Do we have like a forum post going or anything where people can say like, you should do this highlight?
No, but I guess
there was a thing on the first video that Polaris did that was like, hey, if you could think of anything else that would be humorous to do, let us know. So they've already done it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, just leave a comment on the latest video, say which episode it's in, say where it is to help the editor so he doesn't have to scrape through 3 hours of gibberish. And then by all means, also I have encroached on Jesse's window, it seems. Oh my.
Oh, you are. You're a little bit in there. You're a little bit in there. Hey.
I think.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
All right. I think that fixes it, but now you might be encroaching on my window. No, I don't think so. Not by the looks of it. Are you? Let's find out. No, you're right there. You're fine. There we go.
It doesn't matter.
People just got to see slightly more of you, Jesse, there.
That's real hot.
It's the bit that I always crop out for good reason, but there you go. Welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast. We occasionally talk about video games. We're doing a couple of episodes just without a guest, mostly because we just fancy doing them without a guest. We do have a number of really cool guests lined up. Like, the next wave of guests that I've got coming on should all be fantastic. So trust us on that one, but we're just going to do three-person show.
It's fun to do some with just the three of us every now and then.
I'd like to point out... The funny part is that little flash, it just cut up on the stream of what you showed in my shirt. Looks like I'm a member of the Illuminati.
Yeah, it actually does.
I just want to point out that was our quick nod to our overlords in the Illuminati. Thanks for all the
shirt
support,
is
guys.
that, Jesse?
It is a Zelda shirt. It has all the different symbols on it. It's from Fangamer. It's a wonderful shirt. I got it at the Fangamer party at PAX Prime.
You know what else is a wonderful shirt?
What is that?
The I Am the One Who Mocks shirt, which is currently available on RadioArcade.com for the next couple of weeks for $25 or $31 for the bundle, including the Breaking Biscuit promotional t-shirt, and we now accept PayPal. So if you happen to be in Europe and you don't have a credit card, you can use PayPal to buy my shirt from RadioArcade.com and help me afford this dog that I now have. There you go.
should show the dog.
Dog is asleep right now, and I do not want to ruin that. We have 3 hours. He'll probably be awake, and I imagine the missus is going to come back in the middle of this show, probably come in here to find out where the dog is, find the dog, and then force the dog to either bite my beard, which he has a tendency of doing, or lick my face. So both of those will probably happen. That's a bit of foreshadowing for later in the show. I don't want to, just get rid of the dog gimmick so quickly. We need that.
I can't even. I just saw your shameless promotion thing on the stream. You're stepping your game up, sir.
Hey, man.
Stepping it up. It's very good. It's very good.
What's the point in power if you don't abuse it? What can I say?
That's
Why would you have it?
Spider-Man would not approve.
Spider-Man can go fuck himself.
Uncle Ben wouldn't approve.
Spider-Man he's dead.
Well, new Spider-Man doesn't matter. New Spider-Man doesn't matter because he's Dr. Octopus. So
I
don't
even know what's going on.
That's done now, right?
No, it's still going on.
Oh, I thought he
Amazing
was Peter
Spider-Man
Parker
2?
again now.
Eventually he will be.
No. In the comics.
Oh,
right
comics.
In the comics,
Okay,
Dr. Octopus kills Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and takes over his body.
Oh.
It's been like that for like several issues.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, but
20.
I think that got fixed. Wait.
They're going to fix it before the next movie. That's what's going to happen.
Lovely.
Don't look it up. I want to be right.
I can't even keep track of the ridiculous Marvel canon at this point. It's
Continue.
just like, I don't even know what's going on with it. But welcome to the Co-op Show podcast. We do occasionally talk about video games. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hello there, everybody. Oh, my goodness. It has been a fun week, that's for sure. Lots of things happening in the world.
Yeah, not so great things that, you know.
Not so great things.
Yeah, can we
great.
not be on the verge of another nuclear war, please? I'm really getting fucking sick of this.
I would prefer it.
Yeah.
If we didn't blow each other up, but
That would be
whatever.
nice.
Yeah.
Yep. I also have friends in the Ukraine, so I'm hoping that shit does not go down there any more than it already has. That's quite enough of that nonsense.
Yeah, no joke.
It's like, all people
There's
want
a
to
lot going
do
on
is
right
chill
now.
at home and play video games. Like, why won't you let them? Why won't you? I don't understand. Never mind.
We just want to play games. Why can't we all just play games together?
It's pretty much my version of idealism.
Speaking of games, oh guys, we have a lot of games to talk about.
We do.
Today.
I mean, we've been gone for 2 weeks
Yeah,
now.
I don't want to start yet. Not even gonna start yet.
No,
So many
especially
games.
considering I haven't introduced Dodger yet, which is rude as fuck. So, Dodger, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi. I'm Dodger. I'm here. And I have tea.
All of these are
And 2 cats. And
That's it.
a very big role in the newest animated short. So
Okay. Yes. I
think we all agree, right?
yeah, definitely.
I
It's like it's proportionate to the amount of time you usually talk on the show, right? You know?
Oh man, I'm just
That's
gonna get
mean,
razzed
isn't it?
about that.
Based.
No matter how much I like talk more, I'm
doesn't
gonna
matter.
get razzed about it every fucking episode for the rest of my life.
Like, oh, you don't do anything.
Oh, Dodger, you never talk.
Pretty much.
Anyway, hi, I'm Dodger.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So, coming up in the show, it's probably going to be an awful lot of talking about the games we've been playing, because there's a crap ton of them, and we've been gone for 2 weeks, and there's been several major releases in that time. So, we can talk about that, and then, of course, we'll wrap up what news there is, and have a look at the forthcoming releases, then wrap up the show. And that's how it's going to be. It's pretty much how it is every week. So, we might as well. So, are we gonna... Which of the AAAs shall we begin with? Because there's been several that came out over the last couple of weeks. Which one do we want to talk about first? Should we talk about South Park? And it's probably the most relevant at this stage.
I
Sure.
haven't played South Park because everybody keeps talking about South Park to the point that I don't want to play.
Oh.
You're missing out.
So-
You're missing out. You're missing out.
Everybody
on life
says
right
it's
now.
really funny, but like everybody that I know is like, oh my god, I'm so excited to play South Park. It's gonna be the best thing on my channel ever. I'm like, stop.
It's-
so much South Park.
That in itself, like, is the problem, isn't it? It's going to be the best thing on my channel ever. It's like, hang on a minute. South Park, like, the humor comes from the game. It comes from the script. It comes from the voice actors. So basically, you're just harping on and occasionally shutting up to let them talk, and it's going to be the best thing on your channel ever? Really? You know, I understand why you want to let's play it, but don't fucking go that far. It's like, you're not doing anything. It's fucking Trey Parker and Matt Stone that are fucking doing
it's already
everything.
funny. Probably way funnier than you are.
Well, absolutely way funnier than you are. So chances are, it's not going to be that good.
That's why I played it. I told people up front, like, look, this is the easiest Let's Play I'll ever get to do.
Yeah,
I don't have to
absolutely.
do shit. I just can, every once in a while, be like, yeah, now I'm mashing buttons and having fun. And then the game plays itself out.
Yep.
Yep.
And you just, like, there's hours of animated cutscenes, and the whole thing looks like a giant South Park episode, and then 50 million people are going to fucking talk over it.
It's the first game ever. Like, usually when I play games, I'll play maybe 20 or 40-minute spurts, and then I'm just like, I'm done trying to be funny. Like, I gotta recharge. I can't do this anymore. This game, I'm literally like 6 hours into it. Like, this is great. Like, I haven't done shit.
You don't have to do
playing the
anything.
game.
Yep. Well, I think the thing
a
about
blast.
South Park that's really weird is that, and this is a bit meta, I suppose, but the game itself has been given to way more people pre-launch than I've ever heard of, ever, for a AAA.
Agreed.
Like, so, our relationship with Ubisoft's really good, and we occasionally get games from them, but we occasionally don't. Yeah? So, for instance, Far Cry 3, we got that early, yeah? But Splinter Cell, we didn't. So, you know, it's a bit kind of back and forth. And we got this one early, and we're like, oh, great, fantastic. You know, so obviously, if things are going well with with Ubisoft, so we'll be able to preview this. And then I found out that everyone and their mother got it early as well. Like, even like the smallest Let's Players and streamers and things like that. I saw half of my Steam friends list a week in advance already had the game. I'm like, what? Apparently they cast a really wide net when it comes to South Park. I assume because they really wanted the promotion. They even, what looks like they did an exclusive deal with PewDiePie. I assume it must have...
PewDiePie got it way earlier than everybody else.
He did like the first 4 episodes like a week in advance, and I know that was a promo deal. It's obvious with like the Bitly link and shit. So that was obviously a promotional deal with Ubisoft. And that's savvy, don't get me wrong, especially considering, think about the audience, think about South Park, who's gonna like fart jokes? PewDiePie's audience. There we go. So, that was a really,
honest.
really savvy thing.
I think the game's a little classier than that.
It isn't.
I'll be honest. It's a little
classier than fart jokes.
No, they're in there. They're in there.
There's a lot of them. Are you kidding me? It's not classier in any
South
way.
Park if it's classier.
Are you playing the same South Park game?
Fart jokes.
No, yes, it's a magic spell. Yes, farting is a magic spell, which is very funny. But
it's multiple magic spells.
There's a lot of jokes. It's the social commentary South Park that exists. I like it.
You really found some of that in the first 6 hours? Because I found barely any of that.
Oh, I'm way past.
Oh, you got that right. Okay.
I'm very far past the first 6 hours is what I rendered yesterday, video wise.
Jesus Christ.
I'm much further past out. Yeah,
regular DSP over here.
There's a lot in that game that's just too funny. It's a hoot, and I think it served itself very well to be an RPG because they took the characters. Choice. They made them fantasy in this world. The turn-based combat's really funny because that's the way they did it in olden times. So there you go. That's why it is.
Hang on. All right, okay. I was about to take you to task on that. I was like, hang on a minute. What the fuck is he talking about? But
the joke is that all the guys,
they think that jokes.
Yeah,
they think
it's not even his joke. He nicked it directly from the fucking game.
Yeah, that's how Cartman describes it.
Yeah.
And so it's a very funny game. Yes, it has the South Park stuff of like you take shits and all the offensive things that are in South Park, but it also has the fact that it's an RPG that is a very good RPG. Like it is. Treasures to find, quests to do.
There's a shitload of treasures to find. And selling them is annoying as hell because there's no sell all junk button. Holy
you can do sell stack,
which is useless because that's an extra click. Like I think the quickest way is to hold down shift and then just hit the left mouse button about 200 fucking times to sell all the junk that you acquired over the last 30 minutes.
Oh, that doesn't sound fun.
It's a PC port issue mostly. Like the PC port it's functional, but it's actually best played with a controller, which is kind of dumb.
That's what I'm playing, yeah.
You'd think that an RPG would work fine with a keyboard and mouse, and like almost all of it does, but the environmental stuff, there's so many different buttons that are all on they're all sort of command wheels. They're like mini command wheels in and of themselves, and they're on like 4 different keys, and then you have to press 2 more combinations of keys to get shit working. It's like, oh god, what are you doing? Like, come on, you had all of these items, you could have put them on 1 through 0 at the top, just hotkeyed them, but they didn't do that. So
how long is the game supposed to be?
So Northern Lion beat it by blitzing the main quest in 9 hours. Yeah, that's definitely not the way you do it. He was doing it for review. Nerd. That's totally fair. But in the case
is it fair? I don't know that it is.
Just doing it for review? Absolutely. Yeah, you blitz the main quest? Yeah, totally. I think that's fair.
I think you should do all the side quests and everything. If you miss
things
like going to fight,
though. That's not like what you would do to review the game.
That's why I never be a reviewer, because I'm one of those assholes who was like, if you didn't play all of it, I don't see how that's a fair review.
Oh, well, if you didn't find all the 30 chin Pokemon, then that means that your review was inadequate.
Find all the bow ties in Octodad, because otherwise you might as well just go back.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I don't review, because that's why when I see Gerard, I'm like, you're an insane person, because that's too much time. Like, there's a happy medium ground of trying very hard and then just giving up at the last minute when you can't do it. That's where I'm at. I'm like, I'm going to do everything I can to beat everything there is, but then when it gets too hard, I'm like, fuck it. I'm done. Yeah. Just move on. That's where I'm at. But
most people have said, like, to actually do the whole lot and collect absolutely everything, it's more like 20. So, I mean, it's...
I think that's what Joe had. Joe had 20 hours timed in or something like that?
Yeah, I can definitely believe that. I did my first impression, I think 7 hours before that, and according to the people I talked to, I was, having done some of the side quests but not all of them, was just under halfway through the game.
Did you do the Mongolian part? Because that might be my favorite.
I have not done that one yet. I'm going to go back and do that. I'm letting Jen play my copy right now because she's. I'm not actually a South Park fan, and Jen is, so she wants to play the game way more than I do. So I'm just going to let her beat it first, and then I might finish it maybe.
I feel like such a weirdo playing this game because I'm a big South Park fan, and so I know every single little tiny homage that's in the game, and I'm like, I like in the music in the background, I'll just start singing along. Or I'll like start fighting guys. Like when you fight the Mongolians, it's very, very funny. You have to fight them in the Tower of Peace. It reminds you of old school Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy 5 and 4, like way back Final Fantasy. It's a lot of fun. And the game looks like an episode. It plays like an episode, and it feels like an episode. And you know, if you're not into South Park, you probably won't like it. But I know a lot of people who do because like I got an email from my mom who does not like South Park, and she even said like, this is very funny. I don't know if she just watched like the first episode starts off like you're watching an old 60s 70s 80s like Ralph Bakshi film, like Wizards or the Lord of the Rings films or Fire and Ice, like that. It has that same really weird animated quality. It's very, very funny. And I'm curious about the promotion aspect. Back to what you were talking about originally, like why they were like, oh, we need to make sure everyone knows about this. Because you're right, everyone got. So I got 3 different things. All of them were like, here's an early copy, here's an early copy, and one of them was like, we'll give you money to play this game early. Yeah. So I was like, yes, and yes. Like, why not?
I can even guess which PR agency it was that offered the money, like because they do that a lot. And I
was like, yeah, no, of course I'm gonna play it anyway. Yes, of course I will take your money. Like as
long as you disclose the shit.
Yeah, it might be because I think when it came to publicity surrounding the actual release of the game, like a lot of people were covering that the game was happening, but I know a lot of people who were caught off guard by the fact that the game was out.
Yes. Rightfully so, because it's been delayed so much. This game was supposed to be out, I think, late 2012 initially. Then the THQ bankruptcy went down. Then Ubisoft bought it. And then they said, oh, it's definitely going to be out in the middle of 2013. And it fucking wasn't. And it kept happening. So I think you're right, because how many fucking times have they had to do promotion for this game and then it not come out? And I think they did the savvy thing. Let the game speak for itself. Because it does, the first few hours are extremely funny, it continues that way. And the game does speak for itself very well because it's basically like watching an episode. So how do you complain about that? I mean, there's not even that much about the game to complain about. It's a solid RPG. It's got good combat mechanics. It's got really good equipment stuff. I found like the depth in the equipment to be really surprising. Because you can do so much to create cool little synergies with your perks and your talents and the different pieces of equipment and the different like stickers you put on your equipment to give them different powers. There's a lot there.
And it's going back to the actual like story of the game. It's an RPG with an RPG story set in a world of fart and shit jokes. And so the side quests and things like that are like, what you'd expect from the more raunchy parts of South Park, right? Yeah. Like Mr. Slave needs to find his dildo, like things like that, right? But the main story is still you are playing as humans versus elves trying to save the world from this. Like there's this huge big story happening.
But it's LARPing. Like the really cool thing about the story, in my opinion, is it starts off all LARPing, and you think, hang on a minute, is something unusual going to happen here? And of course, unusual things start happening because it's South Park. But it only really works in the context of it being South Park, because South Park doesn't give a shit. It doesn't have any rules that it has to define its universe by outside of its already pre-existing characters. So you can have Kenny die repeatedly during the game. And in fact, Kenny is the best companion because he has some really powerful moves, but if you fuck any of them up, he immediately dies. In various gross ways. And unlike every other companion could just be revived with a revive potion, he can't. Because he's fucking Kenny, and he basically gets torn to pieces by angry rats or whatever. So They managed to tie the South Park mythos, I suppose if you can call that, into the game mechanics in a way that's fun and enjoyable. So I mean, is it maybe the best licensed game to date? I mean, it's got to be pretty close, right?
I tried, because I know Angry Joe tweeted something along those lines, like it's the best licensed game today, and I actively tried to think of one that was better.
Riddick.
I can't right now.
Riddick is better.
Butcher Bay?
Yeah, Butcher Bay or Dark Athena, they're both better. But I mean, the thing about licensed games is though, like it's got to be. I think it's got to be more of a direct license, because if you look at, like, I could say like this. Oh, the Star Wars franchise. Well, it's like 50 games in that, you know, and of course some of them are really good, but
some of them are really bad.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's quite awful.
Yeah, South Park up to this point has been like dreadful in terms of games.
Oh, awful!
Fucking N64 game and the tower defense thing.
Right. I thought that's what you meant when you said best licensed game. I was like, out of the South Park franchise, because I haven't even played it, and I can agree.
Yeah, I was gonna say the South Park franchise, like that's obvious, but it's certainly you can very clearly say, look, like something based on a TV show, this is really, really good, and most games that are licensed aren't. So simple as that.
And they set it up very, very well. If you watch the Game of Thrones episodes of South Park that they had about the console wars, that leads right into this. All the characters are there, everyone you saw in those episodes. So it really, they pulled off something that I think all those delays was worth it, because all the voices are there. All the voice acting is hilarious. It's they didn't cut any corners. It's not
buggy as shit, which is more than I could say for most Obsidian games. Yeah. You know, can you believe I actually got flack for saying that Alpha Protocol was a buggy piece of crap? It's like, but were any of you around when Alpha Protocol came out? You know, of course it was. I had the fucking floor disappear halfway through the game to the point where I couldn't possibly navigate because there was no floor. It just went invisible. Come the fuck on. Don't even tell me that game wasn't a buggy piece of shit. Like, I know people have a certain fondness for the fact that it was a spy RPG, and you generally don't have those. Plus, the dialogue system was amazing. But the game was a buggy mess. Come on. Sorry, that game disappointed me so much.
Side tangent.
Yeah, it's an Obsidian game. It kind of relates. You know, I got that game on launch, and I remember buying that game from Play.com and it arriving on launch day. I'm like, yeah, I'm so psyched to play this. This sounds amazing, and it being a buggy piece of shit and being horribly disappointed by it. And I got about 3/4 of the way through the game before I gave up because bugs were just too much. But Obsidian frequently release buggy games. That's a fact. South Park, for the most part, doesn't seem to be. I've had like a couple of minor glitches that was, I just had to reload the game to fix, and that was it.
So. It's definitely a solid tribute to the show. That's been like we're not going to try anything crazy. We're going to make it look like an episode. And it's like, we're not going to make it 3D. We're not going to make it a fancy shooter or a tower defense anymore. Fuck it. We're just going to make it.
Oh my God. If it was like
a show.
3D Uber CGI, I would have just barfed.
We've tried that before. Apparently, I heard that Parker and Stone got really kind of pissed off at the state of South Park games, and they said, we are not going to allow you to make another game unless we have a lot of creative control, and unless you can actually replicate. They specifically said, unless you can replicate what South Park looks like. We don't want it in fucking 3D or bullshit like that. We want it to look like South Park. And Obsidian came back to them with proof concept and said, holy shit, this looks like South Park. Go. And that's how the game came into being. And they did. It looks incredible in the sense that no other game looks like this.
Yeah. It feels like, even the way they move, even the way the characters, they do the wobble, the South Park wobble.
Yeah, totally.
And when they run, they wobble just a little bit faster. It's great. It's great. And it's every time you meet a new character that you know from the show, you're like, oh, I remember you. Or you see posters and signs. Like there's a character who was only in season 1, like Damien, I don't remember his last name, but he was only in season 1 and 2. And they're like, have you seen this kid? And it's just in the world, right? It's like, this is very cute. Like they have, this game is just, thank you for watching for, I don't even know, like 20 years. Yeah.
South Park was around when I was still in school. Like it's been that long. That's what I'm saying.
Same here.
Yeah.
And so that's like, I remember seeing the movie when I was still in school. Like we were all like, it was hilarious. Like that kind of, I'm very thrilled that this game exists. So I'm excited. Hands down, it's probably my favorite game in a long time. I don't know if that means that it's super, super great, but I'm enjoying myself tremendously. And it feels like a really good, solid turn-based RPG where you're just, if you have Butters in your group, like everyone has different abilities. Butters, he beats people up and then apologizes for it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. It's so much fun.
Man. Well, okay, you've sold me.
You have to get it. You have to play it.
You've sold me on it. I do love South Park. I used to own like all the box sets.
Yeah.
But I had to put them in rainbow order instead of the actual order of what season they were, and my friends used to get really angry about it. But yeah, I love that show. I fell into the trap of feeling like, God, everybody's gonna play this and it's just gonna be obnoxious, and I just don't want to play it.
I fall into that trap repeatedly, like where people just talk too much about a game, and I'm just like, fuck this. I don't know what it is. It feels like you're so oversaturated with what appears to be so much hype, and you get this thing in your mind. It's like, this is going to be disappointing. I'm not going to fucking waste my time with it.
That's exactly how I felt. Yeah, where just so many people were hyping it up so much before they had even played it that I was like, it can't possibly be that good, and I'd rather just not play it. But if it is amazing, it's at least very enjoyable and really fun to play.
I honestly, I could not tell you if it was really stellar gameplay or like I couldn't. I am so blinded by all the other shit happening in the game that it just doesn't matter. I'm like, I can't, because really when you play the RPG part, you only get so many abilities, and you only get like, you can't really equip your companions, and so it's kind of like, I'm sure there's more they could have done.
You do realize in part 2 of your video there's actual fucking nudity, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I'm pretty sure you didn't censor it either. And I'm pretty sure it just went out on the stream. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to have to make a note of this for the editor to take it out. Wow.
What?
Why would you click that part, TV?
I was just streaming footage from your fucking Let's Play, and I was like, well, Jesse wouldn't be stupid enough to leave nudity in his LP. No, wait, he would, as it turns out.
Turns out I don't care that much. It's not. Those are some pretty tame boobs.
I'm well aware of that, but unfortunately, YouTube is super picky about that shit. You remember the story? I think it was Milby, I think it was Milby. He got his entire channel shut down because of an accidental like fraction of a second of anime boob that he'd like cut out of this. I think it was his. It might have been that 4chan game whose name escapes me. It begins with a K.
Katawa Shoujo?
Yes, I think it might have been that. But yeah, you gotta watch out for that shit. It is unfortunately a thing that YouTube is super picky about.
Oh well.
All right, writing down notes. It's like, Lauren, please remember to have the editor censor this bit in the show because YouTube might get upset.
And then put a timestamp.
Yes.
I guess people will be pissed about the fact that at one point you walk in on a man masturbating or a guy banging a horse. I bet that'd be. You have to censor that too, TV?
Well, yeah. Of course you should fucking censor it if you want to keep your YouTube channel.
Just dinosaurs.
Damn, I gotta.
Brontosaurus is everywhere.
Damn.
Jesse, I know the concept of editing is alien to you, but in this case, I think you're gonna have to make an exception.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
I guess the kids will never get to see a man bang a horse unless they go anywhere else on the internet.
That lovely logic doesn't work on YouTube. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Don't Google that.
No, don't do anything.
You should Google that. Get it over with.
All right. Well, I guess that kind of wraps up the South Park discussion. So.
Perfect way to round it off.
God damn it, Jesse.
Horses.
Like, I thought your footage would be trustworthy. I thought you'd be careful, but no.
No, I don't censor for the kids. They get it straight from the source. They get it straight from the source. They gotta learn somewhere.
Oh,
Ladies
God.
have boobs, men have hoo-hoos, and women got the JJs. That's what it's like, kids. I don't censor for nobody.
Hoo-hoo sounds like some sort
normally
of
hoo-hoos
American
applies
snack
to
cake.
boobs, doesn't it?
Look.
Men have.
I don't.
Men have the under hoo-hoos.
The under.
The fuck are you guys talking about? Oh, man. I just woke the dog up. Like, he's over there. Now he's going back to
shouting.
sleep. Uh-oh.
It's so fluffy.
Yeah, he's a giant ball of fluff.
So fluffy. He's like a big snowball dog.
He's named Kumo. Which is Japanese for cloud. You've got to actually give him Japanese names, like Japanese, because it's a Japanese Akita, not an American Akita. So apparently that's the thing you've got to do. But yeah, we'll no doubt show them on the show
They
later.
like give you the dog. They're like, just so you know.
It's a registration requirement because there aren't actually that many Japanese Akitas in America, and apparently there is if you want to properly register the dog, then it has to be registered with the Japanese name, supposedly.
What?
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Indeed. But yeah, so that's that. But no doubt he'll pop up on the show later, especially when Jen comes back and no doubt harasses me with him. But
so I went to the episode that TV just showed you.
Yeah.
I believe there's moments where you pick up Cartman's mom's dildos.
Yes.
And you collect pubes.
Yeah.
So I really I feel like you can't blame
it doesn't
me.
matter. It doesn't matter. YouTube gives no fucks, man. You know that. You know how strict they are.
Here's the thing. I will go to YouTube and I will say to them, guys.
Yeah, this will go well for you, I'm sure.
Guys.
Please continue.
I feel like you don't get it. You can't censor the world, man.
YouTube is known for being really reasonable and rational about these things.
You know what you're getting. If you didn't know, maybe I should tell you. And then I'll just dump a pile of dildos on their desk and be like, pick one and walk away.
Can we talk more about dildos and hoo-hoos on this podcast? Because I think that's a much better topic.
I think we should talk about other video games. We have... No one is doing a fucking anime... No, I'm going to veto that shit. You are not doing an animated episode of that. I'm pretty sure I have an executive veto somewhere. I'm going to use it right now to stop this shit.
Somewhere in here.
Give me that fucking veto.
Somewhere.
Get on my rubber stamp somewhere.
Something.
Shall we... Jesse, Dodger, either of you, did you play Thief?
I did. I streamed it.
Okay.
I played like a couple of minutes of it and then stopped because I didn't really like the controls all that much.
Okay. Wow, that's a degree of patience that I've never seen from you.
I walked in while Jared, one of the reviewers at Maker, was playing it.
Only reviewer at Maker, isn't it?
Yeah, he was getting like gameplay of it, and I was like, "Oh, is this Thief?" And he was like, "Yeah, you've got like weird like spiritual thief powers, and there's like stuff all over the floor you gotta collect, and people don't notice you're there." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I tried playing it, and I was like, "Nobody is seeing me. What is okay?" Just like stealing everything. It was very strange. But for those of you who spent more time playing it legitimately, you should probably talk about it.
Yeah, I wasn't like one of the few reviewers that liked it, because one, I'm not a reviewer, but secondly, because it seemed like it was a very split opinion on that game. And a lot of people were saying like, it's all right. There were very few that said, this is amazing. And I didn't say it was amazing either. It was, there was a couple of places that did, but most of them were like, well, 6.5, 7 out of 10 kind of ish game, and I would agree if I gave scores to that kind of number, because it's like, it's above average, it's definitely got its strong points, it certainly has its problems, the linearity is a real issue with it, the fact that they put a great deal of effort in the main story missions of giving you exposition via kind of conversations that you hear in passing, but in the overworld, there's fucking none of that. Like, outside of the stuff that starts whenever you, like, advance time, basically, and go to, like, the next night, and then you hear something, and then everyone just says the same fucking thing over and over again. But, I mean, I liked it. It's not the original Thief, but it was never gonna be. And you can't make the original Thief these days. I mean, the game is clunky. I was even playing Dark Mod, actually. I played the Dark Mod on stream, which is they took the Doom 3 engine, and they basically made Thief in it. And I can definitely see why people like it, but even that, which is more modernized, still feels way, way clunky in comparison. Like, really dodgy combat mechanics, movement isn't smooth at all, even climbing and things like that is quite tricky, and there's some very strange lockpicking mechanics in there too. But Jesse, what did you think of it?
I was listening to what you're saying. I think it's a solidly okay game.
Yes.
Like, I have to agree with you. It is solidly just okay.
Yes.
I think for me, when it comes to looting and when it comes to doing things like that, and just being a massive loot hoard, like in Dishonored, for example, stealing things was fun because you were stealing them. In this game, the stealing is the quest, and so it's not. You don't have that sense of like, this is wrong, right? Like, you don't like this risk factor of risk and reward. It's like, you're doing this because this is what you do in this game, and I don't know if that ruined things for me, or I maybe it's just the mentality I had. I was just like, I have to loot more stuff.
In the small amount of time that I played, I had that exact same feeling, because there have been plenty of games where you're right, they make it feel as though stealing something is like, oh, I stole that.
Illicit.
Right?
You know? Yeah, but in this game, it didn't feel that way. It was just
It's
like,
part of the course,
I
isn't
gotta,
it?
I gotta take
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
It
Taking stuff.
felt like okay, yeah, no, I get it. I got to do this and I got to do this. Some of the mechanics were great. I like the bottle mechanic. That was sort of like the rocks in Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how, you can only have one ball at a time, but when you throw it, the guys freak out. But sometimes their freak outs would be, they'd freak out and instead of walking towards the bottle, walk towards you. It's like, what? What is the point of what I just did then?
Well,
or
it depends. Like in certain circumstances, if they kind of see you out of the corner of your eye and you throw the bottle, they go to where they saw the bottle kind of coming from instead of where the sound was. So you've got to be fully out of sight.
There's things like the fight mechanic. I realize the game is all about being sneaky.
Not fighting.
But when you do get in a fight, it is the most ridiculous, like R and V are what you have to spend, like R to dodge.
That was
and V
a
to
bit
it's like,
weird, huh?
that is the wonkiest fighting mechanic. I did not like that. And I guess it's supposed to like, you're a thief.
You're not supposed to
be
be fighting, basically. It's a last resort kind of thing.
But still, it was like when that situation arose, it was okay, maybe I can run. So at one point I ran, and the guys, I jumped in like into the buildings and the buildings above, and they just ran in the streets below me like, oh no, we still see him. I was like, how do I hide? Can I get in the dark? So I sat in the dark, and they just sat down below me waiting. And I was like, well, this is shit. And they started throwing stuff at me while I was on the roof. And I was like, okay. So I just gave up and walked down and let them kill me so I could start over. Like,
That's very weird. I had the opposite problem, like I was saying, where they just didn't see me.
Didn't see you. Yeah.
It was really strange. Like, there would be a guard right in front of me, and I would go around a corner and be like, oh no! But he would just stand there. I was like...
You get a lot of grace period, especially if you happen to be in the dark in the first place.
I had the exact opposite. The entire game was like, everyone. There's one part where you have to go into a jewelry shop, and I lockpick my way in. I get in the jewelry shop. Everything's fine. And, like, I close the door, and people are like, the door closed. Everyone, go over there and let's go get him. I was like, the fuck? And so they came and chased me. It was the worst. I was just like, I can't. And the video is on my Twitch stream. You can just watch 4 hours of me just quitting and restarting moments and being like, if you quit and restart, all the guards disappear. It's way easier. Like, this is much easier if you just don't give a shit. I don't know. It's very solidly okay. There's moments where it's like, oh, this story has some interesting elements to it. Like, this is cool. But it also feels like it's very interesting that Dishonored clearly stole stuff from Thief. This Thief clearly stole stuff from Dishonored. Like, it's a weird cyclical thing that's going on because many of the story elements, the supernatural bits and the parts with your abilities and things are like, oh yeah, no, we took this from Dishonored. And so it's like the idea of Dishonored had stuff stolen from Thief, which is fun, and then Thief steals stuff back from Dishonored. It felt like it was like the poor man's Dishonored. There was a lot to it that was just like,
which is kind of unfortunate, really, isn't it? Because Dishonored only exists because of Thief in the first place.
Because of Thief, right?
But,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't get that feeling because in Dishonored, like I think it's the same view that Camster had actually of Dishonored, which is Dishonored is very much a stealth power fantasy in the sense that you are only being stealthy because you want to be stealthy, not because you need to be stealthy. Whereas in Thief,
I like that choice.
Yeah, but that also means that in Thief, though, you need to be stealthy, which makes it an entirely different experience. Because the only reason you're being stealthy, which is the same as like in something like Splinter Cell Blacklist or any of the newer Splinter Cell games, where stealth is an option instead of being required, it's more of a power trip. Because like, I'm a sneaky fucking ninja, I am gonna stab you, blah, 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 blah. And if you do a ghost run, it's because you want to do a ghost run, not because you needed to do a ghost run. So I think that's where the differentiation lies, not the fact that most of your powers are very passive or ability enhancing instead of like, here are some fucking rats, or I can teleport like a wizard. You can't do any of that with the focus system.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think that maybe that's why I just didn't. I don't like the fact that it's like, you must play this way. Maybe I'm totally ruined by games that are like, play how you want, enjoy. Because going back to, for example, old school games like Metal Gear Solid 2 and stuff, like that game's ruthless when you go back and play it, and you're just like, wow, I'd rather play the newer games because at least it's a bit more forgiving than this. And I think this harkens back to that, where it's like, we're going to make this purposefully much more difficult if you are an idiot and screw up. So you have to be very careful, you have to be very slow, and you have to be very methodical. And I think that's one thing that I learned, and I also learned that I don't like that anymore. I don't like having to wait 5 minutes for patrols to move back and forth so I can figure out the pattern. I'd rather just go through and be like, I knocked your ass out and move on. And the thing about this game is you can knock people out. You can queue them in the back, which is one of my favorite commands in games. So I run up and I knock them out, and the minute I do, I don't know if there was a control where you could hold them immediately, but every time they dropped, it was like every guard in there was like,
Made a noise. Yeah.
Oh god, it's the worst. So knocking people out was detrimental to you. So unless there was one guy by himself, everyone noticed.
Yeah.
I was like,
the game's designed to be played stealth. It gives you the option to do it other ways, but that's not a good way of doing it, in my opinion. And I think that's actually a strength of the title.
It's definitely, it has to do with what you want out of a game, I think. Because there are plenty of games that have those sorts of puzzles, right? Where they're like, don't get caught by the guards. And plenty of people find those really tedious.
Mm-hmm.
But
Insta-fail stealth, definitely.
Yeah, but there are also plenty of people who really enjoy that because it's like a mind puzzle, you know? And I think, Jesse, you probably enjoy the games that you do because you play games, you know, to like really enjoy being that person. Well, and in Thief, maybe you just don't enjoy being the thief because you have no choice in the matter.
There's certain levels of mind puzzles that I think are fun, and ones that I just think it's forcing you down a path. Like Thief felt very like you're on a linear path, and no matter what choices you make, you're gonna go down this way. Like in order to get to places, sure, it looks like there's a maze in the rooftops, but it's really not. It's a fake maze of rooftops. And one of the things, like for example, in Deus Ex Human Revolution, there was a moment in the game that for me was a giant mind puzzle that I thought was great. It was either you kill hostages or I think it was kill scientists, and those are your two choices. And I, by going through pipe work, discovered you can save both, and you don't have to kill either. And it's not even an option. It's not even a quest in the game, but if you do it, it's like, good job, you saved everyone. I was like, holy shit, that is the kind of stuff.
Good job, me.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm like,
there's a very similar part of Deus Ex 1 that like makes it probably one of my favorite games of all time because of that. Because like any other game would say, nope, choose one. And there's like, no, you can do that. And like, it took me so long to even figure out a lot of it, because the first time I played Deus Ex, I basically accepted what the game told me. And then after that, I said, no, I'm not going to accept what the game's telling me. I'm going to try this. And it ended up fucking working. I'm like, you could do that. You know, and I love those moments in games, and they're very, very rare.
It's a very, I don't know how else to explain it. It's a very Captain Kirk thing. Like, you never, like, screw your two choices. There's another way of doing it.
Screw your Kobayashi Maru, basically.
Yeah, like, I will do it my own way. And I love the fact that the Deus Ex games were like, cool, well, let's do that. Let's make it so if you can find this secret thing, bless you did it. Great. And that's one of the things that I thought was kind of neat in Dishonored, is there are certain ways to do things that you're just like, there's one of the very first missions in Dishonored was you break back into the sanctuary where all the religious bad guys are, and you can either kill the main guy or you can capture the main guy. But one of the choices is you sit him down in the chair and you brand his face so that everyone knows that he's kicked out and he's effed. And then later in the game, you see him, and it's a choice that they don't even give you unless you find the brand, you do all these different things. And that's what I thought was like, this is really creative. And that's sort of like the world of Thief. It wasn't like fleshed out enough for me. You didn't have those options. You didn't have ways to sneak and do different things. And even when you hear people talking in houses, if you break into the house, there's just no one in there. Like, they're in a room that you can't get into. And I guess because you're sneaking, you don't want to walk in on people. It makes sense. But it really was, you're in a world with all guards and maybe like 3 or 4 people on the street and then some sick people on the street. But in all the houses, it's just voices until you go in and there's nothing in there. And I was like, it would be kind of funny to walk in on someone in a house. Or,
the fact that you never do that, it bothers me, because the whole aspect of like looting houses was ridiculous because no one was ever fucking home and there was never a risk to doing it. I think there was maybe one that had a trap in it that I found. Outside of that, everything else was just like, it was a loot bag and you just went in. And it was kind of cool for a while until you realize, oh, well, the risk isn't there. I mean, when you're inside one of these houses, you can make as much noise as you want. No one will ever come in on you. It's never going to happen. And that, I think, That should have been there. That would have helped a lot.
Like the bank, for example, you have this huge thing in a bank where there's a lot of opportunity that I think they could have upped the difficulty without making it you must sneak constantly. Like, you go to the bank and there's security cameras everywhere. If you shoot out the lights in the security cameras so that they shut down, there should be something like guards show up like, whoa, hold up. We have lost all of our security camera or like our sensors or something, and we need to figure out what's going on. Instead, you shoot them, and it's like, great, I made it 20 times easier for myself. Like, no, the game should be like, whoa, hold up. What is going on here? And send guys in after you or something. Like, there's ways that they could have made it a little bit more, like, all right, if you want to sneak. I don't know.
That seems very, doesn't have enough layers.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think everyone who plays it agrees. It's a very solid, okay game. You get what you get. If you want a sneaky game, it's just that. But I don't know that it's great. It definitely isn't the greatest of games.
It's not great. I mean, I don't think anyone really went out of their way to say it was great, but I personally enjoyed my time with it, and I thought it was a decent amount of fun, and it was atmospheric. So
also, I'd want to point out that they leaked Dishonored 2's thing.
Yes, now that I'm definitely interested in. I need to go back and actually play the DLC for that game. I haven't got around to it.
Oh my god, the 2 DLCs basically are like, hey, remember how we hinted at a massive world? There's a massive world and you're gonna love it. And it's like, I can't wait for this. If they go beyond the city and actually make a game where it's like, all those things we talked about, now we're gonna see them, I will never be happier, and I can't wait for that. That'll be a blast. So here's hoping. E3 this year.
Yep. But Thief, it's okay. Like, probably not buy it for full price. Well, it is.
No.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
It is. That's
all right.
I mean, that's a perfect tagline. Thief, it's okay.
Yeah.
And that's
not
exactly
incredible.
what it is.
It's all right. I had fun with it.
Ever
You need a game to play it.
Ever since Jesse motioned to shoot the cameras like this, I've been imagining him as Spider-Man, but not in the Spider-Man costume, like Spider-Man costume with the thief costume over the Spider-Man costume, and like every time he grabs something, he just sticks it to his hand and runs. That's what I've been.
That's how I do. That's how I do.
Weapon all the cameras.
Can we talk about Lords of Shadow 2 for a minute?
Oh God, have fun with that. I played like 2 minutes and was like, done.
I'm surprised you were done in the first 2 minutes, because the first 20 minutes is fucking great, and then is where it goes downhill.
That was an exaggeration, but yeah.
That was weird. Like, I got to the point where I just said, okay, I think I'm ready to talk about this, but I'm really not sure if I am, because the first 30 minutes, yeah, you're fucking Dracula, and you're beating up Brotherhood, and there's a giant fucking robot, and it takes about 20 minutes to kill it, and there's this demon paladin that not demon paladin, that would be weird. There's this paladin in gold armor with fucking 2 flaming swords and fucking wings, and he's quoting lines from previous Castlevania games and all that shit in the most epic, boomy voice imaginable, and you fight this thing, and you take it down, and then it's like, enjoy a 10-minute cutscene. Now you've lost all your fucking powers. Welcome to London. There's a guy in the future trying to sell you what appears to be smack on the street. You are ancient Dracula who looks like a hobo. Then Patrick Stewart is there, and there's some murder, and you can't. And then it's like, go to this facility, but you've lost all your power. You can't fucking fight anything. You are goddamn useless for the next 3 hours. I'm like, great. Well, that's the Dracula experience I was looking for. There's fucking
some Anne Rice
stealth.
shit going on.
There's fucking stealth, and it's bad stealth. It's not, by any stretch of the imagination, remotely serviceable stealth. Yeah, that's the biggest problem I've got with it. It's so tacked on, and it feels absolutely pointless. A complete and total waste of your time. And once you get past that, and once you get your abilities back, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is kind of like Lords of Shadow with the brawling and the fighting and the jumping and the exploration and things like that, and that's okay. But some of it takes, well, in fact, a lot of it takes place in the future, and it's fucking boring, because you fight in car parks and warehouses and shitty, like, scientific research facilities, and then occasionally you go back in time to Dracula's giant fucking awesome demon castle, where everything's amazing, and there's fucking rivers of fire, and to get through any door you have to bleed in some way, you know?
Jesus.
That's awesome. And Ned's like, oh, we're going back to the future now. Like, no, don't send me back.
Don't make me.
Don't make me. And it's stupid because the whole game would have probably just been better if they just made another fucking Castlevania game around Dracula and done it in the past and just done another Lords of Shadow. And they didn't.
Yeah, did you play the first one?
Yeah, and it was all right.
Yeah, it's a pretty all right game. It's not great.
Okay.
There's a lot wrong with it.
Yeah.
But the excitement that I have was like, oh, well, this one's going to continue where that, like, oh, okay, let's like continue
That
the
was
story.
my
This will be
hope.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all over the place. It is an entire mess. And I was like, I can't even bother right now.
As
I don't
a
wanna- I don't
story-driven
wanna play.
person, you're gonna fucking if you played any
Yeah.
more of it, Jesse, you would hate it. Like, it's silly. It's like it's Dracula versus Techno Satan, essentially. But occasionally you're going back to the past for no apparent fucking reason. And in the process, for some reason, everything in your castle is also trying to kill you, and no one really knows why. How the fuck are you even going back in time in the first place? Who the fuck is this wolf character? What is happening? You know, why is this demon trying to seduce me? I don't understand it. Oh god. It
is, yeah. Wait till it goes on sale. If you're looking for a silly game, wait till this one goes on sale because it doesn't have the gameplay mechanics enough to be like to justify how weird it is.
If you can endure the first 3 hours, I wouldn't say the fighting's horrible. Some people think the fighting's horrible. That's not. I think the fighting's pretty good. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's not as good as something like God of War, Bayonetta, or Metal Gear or anything like that, but it's decent enough. It's got some weight and heft to it. I like the speed of progression. Once you actually get your main weapons back, you actually unlock a ludicrous amount of combos and abilities and synergies and all sorts of things you can do. So I thought the combat was okay. It was probably the strongest point of the game, but the story is just absurd, and I'm not even a story-driven kind of person, but I was being bothered by it. So there's got to be pretty bad to get to that point. And it's just dragging you back to the future all the time when you don't want to go, and having to do all the missions in the fucking future, and having this giant abilities where they take away all your shit and make you slowly earn it back again. Oh, I had really mixed feelings on that game. Like, I think I had fun more than I didn't, but not by much.
I really liked the first one. This conversation makes me not want to play the second one, though.
It's probably for the best that you don't. There's
Even though it sounds like some Anne Rice shit, I don't know if I can play through Anne Rice shit.
Not in this case. I'm afraid that there are some cool characters every now and again, but it's just.
I want to see what Techno Satan looks like. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think I can endure going to the end of the game.
Best character 2014.
Yeah, it's like his guards are basically rip-offs of Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, can you find me? Because right now I'm imagining that it's the same character as the Paladin. It's just a Paladin being like, I wasn't a Paladin at all. I was actually Techno Satan
the entire time.
That's what I want.
That would
out of my Castlevania sequel. That's what I want.
Yeah. So and it's a real shame because like it shows flashes of brilliance every now and again, especially in Dracula's Castle when you're doing some of the really cool platforming. It's like, oh, this is Castlevania. Like you're climbing over this stuff, you're doing environmental puzzles, you're finding secrets and using the abilities you just got to unlock new areas. I mean, that's Castlevania in a nutshell, isn't it? But outside of that, there are a few too many problems with it, unfortunately, like to recommend it at full price. Like when it's on sale for 75% off, you'll probably be fine with it if you can endure the first couple of hours. But outside of that, nah.
I wonder if anybody's made Castlevania. That's got to be a porn somewhere, right?
That might be a little too niche even for porn. Let's find out.
For browsers, even though.
There's a bunch of Newgrounds things called Castlevania Symphony of the Butt and shit like that.
Right, yes.
But which doesn't surprise me in any way. There's apparently a game called that. Oh dear. But outside of that, no. It's
alright, somebody needs to get on that.
Yeah, obviously.
Castlevania.
It's vitally important.
Go. That's free. That's free for you.
Right there.
Why can't I find any decent pictures? All I can find are the shirtless ones. And I think those are from the first one where he has his
Show
wings
me
and stuff.
TotalBiscuit should really finish the game. I found it okay. I'm not going to fucking waste 20 hours on a game I don't enjoy. I mean, what the hell's wrong with you? Why would I do that? Oh, I never understand it when people say that. It's like, oh, you should finish. Like, so what you're basically saying to me is invest my time into something I've already assessed instead of investing it into something new that people want to watch. That's not a very good idea, is it? No. Don't. That's silly. Don't.
No.
This is why we don't take advice from Twitch chat.
Look, I'm just gonna look up shirtless Techno Satan and see what happens.
You aren't gonna find it. I've been searching everywhere. The only thing I can find is one screenshot of him, and it's not the good one. So there's a lot of screenshots of the chick with the boobs in it from the first one. So there you go. That's a thing.
Club blood.
The internet knows what it likes.
Pictures that showed up.
Apparently so. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back, because we've got a lot more games to cover. I know Dodger wants to talk about Mighty Quest, and I would absolutely love to talk about Mighty Quest as well.
And you gave me a job to play a bunch of Danganronpa and then report back, so
yes,
I did that.
Oh my god.
Excellent. Cool. So we will certainly learn about that. You're currently watching the Corruptional Podcast. We will be back after a few short minutes. Don't go anywhere. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Corruptional Podcast. The wonderful sounds of Frank the Packy right there with Ownage, followed by The Edge from his Infiltrator album. So the dog woke up.
Yeah,
I think Dodger heard it.
I heard him howling. I was like, oh no, puppy.
Yeah, I went out of the room briefly to go to the bathroom and then came back and I heard the howling, like, oh no, he's woken up and he's like trying to get to the door or whatever. He's now right down here, so I guess now is probably a good time to show the stream what he looks like. And he's
Snowball dog.
He's
Snowball
already
dog.
extremely heavy. There we go. Hi. What's you up to? Hello.
How big is he supposed to get?
Very. Like, he's a Japanese Akita, so they get pretty large. Like, he, I think now is 11 weeks old.
Akita.
And he's already this size, so...
Oh, they look like a giant wolf Shiba.
Yeah, pretty much. And they are big, too.
Aww. Cuties.
Yes. He is very sweet and extremely docile, but also gets very lonely very fast. So that's a bit of a problem. But he is very fluffy. What? What? It's okay. I'm here. Relax. As I said, he's very attached to the point where, like, he doesn't like being alone. We've found that having the TV on helps. So he'll kind of wander around downstairs if the TV's on, but I can't do that when I'm in here doing the podcast. That is a bad idea. He could get into all sorts of trouble. So I'm trying to keep an eye on him. Hopefully.
Yeah, when I was looking up Watson's breed, it was saying, make sure that you don't take in a Flame Point Siamese when they're too young, because they are extremely needy cats. And I was like, that explains so much, because I was trying to figure out why she constantly, like, it's akin to sucking your thumb for too long. Like, she's almost a full-grown cat, and she still has these weird spazzes where she runs over and just, like, needs to lick you.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, please tell me you're still there and I'm still okay and I'm still yours and I still have a home and I'm still gonna get fed. And I'm just like,
Jen just came back in and Kumo is now running away, apparently. Why are you
at me?
Apparently now some kind of fight is going on, so...
Aw.
He's been asleep here for hours now. There we go, okay. Alright, looks like... Careful.
Yeah, thanks, John.
That had nothing to do with me. That was you.
It wasn't me.
You just peed on my floor. Great. Nicely done,
We're
Jen.
gonna go to
Well
another
done.
break, ladies and gentlemen.
It was fine. It was fine until you came. What? Get a towel. Good lord.
You let him go in the hallway. I have to go clean that up, too.
I did not.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
I didn't let him do anything of the sort. I had no choice in the matter. Well, that's lovely. Welcome back to the Corruptional Podcast. This is why we don't have animals on the show most of the time. Especially not, like, very, very young ones. Oh, God. Anyway, let's get back to talking about video games. Let's talk about Mighty Quest.
Yeah! Let's talk about Mighty Quest.
Yes.
I finally, because I had played it a long time ago, but both you and Sam had talked about how much it had changed, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna, like, actually go on there and start my own game, because I had only played other people's games. And so I'm actually, like, playing now from the start, and it's so much fun, and I like, my favorite change that I've noticed is that the traps affect the monsters inside of the castle? Because that wasn't the case before, right?
No, they never used to. And it was weird because back then, not a lot of traps were really used, and most people... It's mostly because of the limitations of the number of traps you could put in one place. But they've taken those limitations away with so-called free building mode, which means you can actually do some pretty fiendish stuff now.
Well, yeah, like, I just loved... There was one castle that I went and invaded, and it was the sort of person where they just... at the very end of their castle, put
everything,
all of their monsters
like
zoo. Right in front. But they also, for whatever reason, had one of those mouse wheel traps. Yes. So I would just pull like groups at a time, throw down, because I'm an archer, throw down my spikes so it slowed them down and just watch them all get hit by this thing. And I was like, well, this is, I mean... This helps me out, so thank you.
There's even a meta game, really. Like, it's changed over the past few weeks, because when they first put free build mode in, everyone effectively realized the best way to make this work is to make a death zoo, right? Which is you get all your monsters, you put them in the boss room, yeah, or not in the boss room. Like some of the savvier guys didn't put them in the boss room because the boss room actually has a lot of space and it allows you to kind of kite around a bit. So put them in a smaller room. Make sure that there's traps on either side, like springboards, which are now much better because they're much harder to see, that kind of catapult you back into the boss room or something to slow you down, and then just basically have you get murdered in there. But then people figured out, well, it's actually possible to kite some of the creatures like a bit at a time out of the room and then just kill them off that way.
Yeah, because you never pull them all at once.
Not
they come
anymore.
in like weird tiny groups.
You used to pull them all at once.
Pull
for
a few, kill them in the hallway. Pull a few, kill them in the hallway.
Yeah, they used to, the way that they used to do it is because they had to quickly fix this, because when they first put free building in, you could pull the entire room at once, like all 250 defense worth. So like, this is fucking stupid. So they changed that to discourage the whole Death Zoo style. A lot of people still do it because they're uncreative and horrible. But yeah, you can now pull bits of them, and the rest of the guys just kind of run away until like enough monsters are being killed for the next kind of wave to come in. But now people are getting they're kind of even more savvy in the sense that they have realized, well, there's a limitation on the number of creatures you can pull at once, but there's not a limitation on the numbers of traps you can have in one area if you can fit enough generators in the area. Like, that's kind of the soft
the
cap.
generators are the tricky part.
Yeah, you've got it, because you can't place something on top of a generator, and generator takes up quite a lot of floor space, so you got to make sure there's enough generators in range of enough traps to power them all. Even the stuff like the jelly walls and the fucking mines, they need to be powered. So that's the artificial limitation on it. And most people now, like the certainly at the higher levels anyway, are focusing on certain kinds of monsters in small rooms combined with traps, yeah? So my castle is mostly jelly walls, cannons, mines, and some really nasty monsters that synergize well with that together. And it's pretty vicious, and it kills quite a lot of people.
Yeah, I want... The thing that I keep trying to make work, and it just won't work for me, is I really want my castle to be all tiny nooks and crannies filled with traps, and then just as many chickens as I can fit in there. Just chickens everywhere. And when I was putting this together, Sam came over and looked at my castle and was like, you realize you're just feeding them experience.
You actually
like,
are. Yeah.
These people are going to come in and just like blow up all these chickens, get experience for all of them, and then just walk through your castle. I was like, but they're so funny. Just like a castle filled with chickens. I want to make that work so bad.
There are actually so-called chicken farm castles where some players have done nothing but fill a castle full of chickens. And basically, it's like the sole reason for it is to allow people to farm it. Because there's a castle I know of that's level 21 that has 265 chickens in it. And I just go in there. I got 2 levels in there. I just went in there, nuked it over and over and over again, keep going. And it was amazing because you got loads of loot drops, you get loads of experience and stuff like that.
Yeah. But
it's kind of strange to play when you set it up. And I know we're confusing a lot of people here, I think, because they don't know what it is. So basically, Mighty Quest. In fact, Dodge, you explain, what is Mighty Quest for Epic Loot? Like,
okay, so Mighty Quest takes place in a world where there are many little castles floating in the sky. Mm-hmm. So you are someone who has heard of all of these castles that you can potentially raid. You can just go in there and like steal all of their stuff is the idea. So there are 4 different classes that you can be. You can be a knight, you can be a mage, an archer, which is what I am, and then the runaway, which is a new character one that not everybody has access to
pretty
yet.
Much a barbarian.
So, so the idea is you have your own castle. You can defend it. You can put in traps and things, but you have to upgrade it in order to put more traps and more monsters in there. And in order to make it a bigger castle, you start off with a very small one. And then in order to get the resources to add to your castle, you can invade other castles that are floating around you. And the castles change depending on what class you are and what area, not class, what level you are.
Yes.
And what area of the sky you're in.
Because your castle basically raises higher every time. So the ones that are lower than you are lower level, ones higher. And they're all in different regions as well. All have a PvE boss in them.
Yeah. So then you go to their castle and you have to run through, you have to find their gold mine, their life source mine, if they have them, and destroy those and get through all of the monsters, get through all of the traps and get to the end of their castle.
Without
dying, and then you get loot.
Yeah.
But also another thing that I think is cool about putting together your own castle is you have to validate that it's possible to run it.
Yeah. And you set the time in doing so as well. So the way that there's a crown system in the game, which now determines what league you end up being in, based on how many crowns you have. You can steal crowns from other people, and you can also lose crowns. So you lose crowns if you die in someone's castle, and you can lose crowns from people stealing from them. But you get a star rating from running the castle, a full 3-star rating. You've got to beat the par time, which is the par time that was set by the person that made the castle in the first place. You've got to destroy all the mines, and you have got to get to the end without dying, and that's 3 stars. And you get 100% crowns if you do that. You only get 50% crowns if you don't find all the mines, or if you don't hit it in under the par time.
Under par.
Yeah, and if you die, you get nothing. Like, the whole thing locks down. You can't get anything. You can get out of there with the loot that and the money that you got from killing the monsters, but you don't get anything from their chests. You don't get any stars or crowns.
You can rerun the castle, though.
Yes, yeah, and you won't lose further crowns after doing that.
If you lose, then you can't do it again. You can run the same castle over and over and over again if there's a specific castle in your level that has like way more experience to give you. Like, that's what I was doing. Is just doing it with a chicken farm,
like over and over and over again. But the thing is, every time if you die in the castle, there's a benefit to the guy who actually runs the castle.
Because your skeleton is left there.
Yeah, he leaves a gravestone, which you click on, and you get a shitload of resources from it, like a load of life force that you can then spend. There's 2 resources in the game, golden life force, which can be spent on equipment and upgrades and different monsters and researching higher tiers of monsters, which unlock new skills for the monsters and things like that. And every run is like a mini Diablo dungeon. It takes about 2 to 4 minutes at most to run it, and it's a mini Diablo dungeon that you run that's been custom designed by a player, and you try and beat their par time. And you can actually improve your own par time as well. You can validate your castle multiple times to improve your par time and things like that. So it's that. I think so. At the moment, it's pretty good. Like, it's in a decent spot. I don't necessarily like the way that they're doing the pulls, because it's exploitable. Like, if you have too many monsters in one room, what can happen is it will pull some kind of random monsters, and the rest of them will just kind of run away. And you can then, if you're a fast hero, you can kind of go to the back of the room, find the runaway monsters, and just kill the high priority ones. Yeah. And some of them will fight back, but sometimes they won't. There's like a hard cap and a soft cap as to how many people will attack you at any given time. And it almost discourages you from even having a boss monster, because those boss monsters are very high defense rating, and you can only pull a certain amount of defense rating at a time. And a boss counts as almost all the defense rating at all. So I don't know, though. It has encouraged me to be a bit more creative with my design. As I said, like, smaller rooms with some really nasty combinations of, like, stronger creatures and things like that, combined with traps, works really, really well. So I'm trying
to pay attention to things that constantly catch me off guard in other people's castles and trying to replicate it. But to a certain extent, sometimes there are things that I haven't unlocked yet, like monsters that I don't have a good enough summoning gate for and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it gives me something to work toward.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
Good to set an objective.
This game was marketed, I don't know, in like a really weird way at first, I think. It came across as just, hey, there's this new social game where you take gold from your buddies.
And it's not a social game at all.
But it's not at all. It's not that at all. Like, you can put people on a friends list on there. You can attack your friends' castles, but that's that's the extent of it, and that's pretty much the extent in many games. So yeah, I think it's super fun. I was playing it all night last night. It was great. So I definitely recommend playing it. It's an open beta now.
Yeah, I often just get like a loot booster, which lasts for an hour, and just like run an hour worth of castles to see what kind of loot that I can get. And it's a shitload of fun. It used to be very pay to win in the sense that you could actually use the premium currency to buy creatures and shit, which was dumb. Really dumb. I actually used that back in the day when you could do that to buy like a full set of fucking things. So that was kind of ridiculous. But
Can I ask what class are you?
I play a mage.
Okay.
And
an evil mage.
Yes, the Earl of Evilocity. I'm pretty fucking good with the mage. Like the mage is really fun. And
I like how they specify that for you. They're like, he's a mage and he's evil.
Yes, he's evil.
You don't get to choose if he's good or he's an evil mage.
Everyone's evil. Like
okay.
The land of Opulencia is basically full of horrible, greedy people. Like everyone is playing horrible.
They're all people that came there to try and like
steal from others.
Steal everybody's stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's giant fucking like it's just asinine. But I don't think the pay to win argument is valid. Like you can. I don't really like the way they're doing the fourth class because you kind of have to buy it separately, which is a bit dumb. I'm not sure if that's just going to be in the open beta and they'll just give it to everybody outside of that. But what I will say about the fourth class is not OP in any way. Actually, I would say the opposite. Like, she's really, really glass cannon. And she's also melee range glass cannon. So, and you've even got to use your health to actually use her abilities. She's a fun class, but no way is she overpowered. And people saying mage is bad don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about. I'm level 21. I believe the level cap's 30, so I'm pretty far up there with the mage. And I pretty much destroy anybody. As people saw, I did a stream of it, and I was just wrecking castle after castle after castle, under par, because the mage has a ridiculous amount of mobility, has a huge amount of utility, his AoE is second to none. And if you know how to play him, and you get like a good weapon, then you can dominate. I've got a weapon that does chain lightning, but also has a chance to proc an explosive blast for 750 damage, which is fucking absurd. I get additional armor every time someone comes into melee range of me. So I just get in the middle of a group and I get like 5,000 armor and just like, fuck all you guys, and just tank everything and lightning everywhere and shit like that. So no, I mean, I think it's actually a very fair game. It used to be pay to win, definitely. I mean, I made a video back in the day called The Pricey Quest for Awful Loot, where I just said, you fucking ruined this, because they made all this stuff buyable, and they took all that out. They even took out the delays for building. Everything builds instantly now. You don't have that Facebook style of, wait 24 hours to build this. It just builds right away.
That's also true. Yeah, it just happens for you, which is great. I really appreciate that. And I also think that it's smart. I can't remember if this was a thing before, but I also think that it's smart that if you've been attacked and looted within a certain period of time, then people can't just like loot you over and over and over and over again, so that you're just screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on kind of your level and things like that. You can actually turn your shield off, and I've been actively doing that because my current castle is confusing a lot of people, so I turn my shield off to make my castle tempting to attack. Because you can attack a shielded castle, but you won't get anything from the treasure chests, which means that it's good for experience.
Get, like, the experience and the drops from killing the monsters.
Which is not as good, So I turn my shield off, and then like 6 people just died in my castle. I'm like, thanks for the cash, fuckers. It's actually like it's really satisfying building. I spent hours just crafting the castle, and like every time I ran out, I'm like, where's the weakness? Like, how did I exploit this, and how can I maybe modify it to make that harder? And I did it to the point where I had to run my own castle 15 times to beat it because I kept fucking up and dying because I've made it pretty nasty. But it's okay. It's a lot of fun. I jump into it every now and again, and I always log in every morning just to collect my money and build some upgrades and see how many times I've been raided or whatever, and then go and revenge on everyone that successfully raided my castle. Like,
that's what I do too.
Kill that guy, steal his shit, fuck you. Some guy posted, like, your castle was too easy, and I saw in the battle log that he'd chugged 4 giant potions to beat it, and had almost died multiple times, so I went and fucking ran his dungeon, aced it in about a minute, and it's like, easy, son. It's like, fuck you, you arrogant bastard. No, it's great. I love it. I think that if people disregard it as kind of a Facebook game, then they're very silly. It's not. Like, it's
not at all.
No, it's a mini Dungeon Keeper mixed with a mini Diablo with custom designed stuff. It's good.
And the expressions or taunts that you can do are real funny. The dance like goes on forever before it loops. I was like, how long is he gonna dance? He's doing all different moves. Like, this is getting nuts. He's just like, yeah. It was great. I enjoy it a lot. You can tell they're having a lot of fun with it, and I think that it's a good concept. So
I'm trying to figure out whether or not this person in the chat needs to get banned for that link. I don't know what that link actually is, and I don't want to click it. I'm like, but he's a subscriber. Oh, did he seriously just give me $5 to advertise his fucking thing? LOL, banned. Thanks for the cash.
Oh no.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he just subscribed to post that link. I'm like, thanks for the $5. That's ban. Well,
I have a Twitch channel if you want to.
I was going to say, is this the new thing?
I would love
is this what they're going to do now? Are spammers actually going to pay for subscriptions in order to post?
God bless.
Perfect.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. Bring them on, you know?
Oh, man.
Jesus. Incredible. I'm hoping that guy wasn't actually legit. I'm pretty sure, like, someone doesn't subscribe and then immediately post the dodgy link. Like, no. All right. Thank you for the money. Much appreciated. Anyway. So, yeah, the Mighty Quest. And you play Danganronpa, yes?
Yeah, I'm probably... I've played about 11 hours of it. I'm probably, like... I don't want to say 3/4 of the way, but I'm definitely over halfway. Did you play any more of it?
No.
What? Can you once again go over what this stupid game is?
It's a visual novel, mostly.
No. Danganronpa is
okay, apparently not.
It's like Phoenix Wright meets Battle Royale. So the concept of it is like all of these kids are invited to go to this elite school. They show up and they all immediately black out, wake up inside of the school, and there are big metal like sheets over all of the windows. They can't get out at all. And then they're told by the mastermind, who is speaking through a toy bear. They're told by the mastermind.
An explosive toy bear, I might add.
Yeah. That they can either live out their lives peacefully inside of the school. They can have all of the food that they need, all of the clothing that they need. Anything that they want is in the school, aside from being able to leave.
Yes.
Or, if they want to leave, they have to murder one other student. And they have to get away with it. Mm-hmm. So the way that the game is set up is you have periods of like free time, like walking around, interacting, and that normally only takes like 2 game days before some sort of a thing happens. And that way I think the pacing is way better than Persona 4. Like there were many times in Persona 4 where I was like, can we just get on with
it? Yeah. Particularly Golden, because they actually added more months to Golden.
Know.
So
oh
yeah, there were definitely
moves a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. A lot more happens. But so you play until somebody murders somebody, essentially.
Yeah.
And so then you enter into a totally different game mode where it's investigation and then trial. So in the investigation mode, you're walking around, you're inspecting the body, you're inspecting the crime scene, you're going all over the school to see if there are any clues to anything else. And once you've collected all of the information you need, then it just immediately goes into trial. And they're just like, okay, it's time for class trial. And once you get into the trial stage, the gameplay is completely different. And it's everybody in a courtroom, essentially. And you're all trying to argue who the murderer is, because if you get it wrong, then everyone dies.
Ah.
So it's either one person
die.
One person gets to leave and everyone dies, or the murderer dies. And the murderer only dies if you figure out who it was.
Yeah.
Do you kill the murderer? Who kills the murderer?
The mastermind, the person who's running the whole thing that you don't see. The bear is how you only ever see him, through the toy bear.
Yeah, but if you get away with it, you get to leave the school. But if you leave the school, then everyone else is basically toast.
Everybody else is executed. Yeah. So everybody's like constantly living in fear and freaking out. And I actually, this might be messed up to say, the execution scenes, like the animation in the execution scenes is awesome. Like it's so cool. But I've been really, really enjoying Danganronpa. I don't know why you felt like it didn't get to gameplay quick enough.
I need to. I've done the first hour and there's no fucking gameplay. So I need to push forward further, and I need the motivation to do that. I mean, all that sounds great. Like that sounds like the kind of thing I dig. I love Phoenix Wright. But I think like the Phoenix Wright stories always grab me very quickly, and Danganronpa hasn't for some reason. So I need to push forward further than that and hopefully get to the point where I start to see gameplay and do that stuff and get really interested in it. But as at this point, I am not yet.
At first, because everybody said that it has the social aspects that like Persona does. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why? When these people are either going to wind up being murderers or dead anyway. Like, I don't understand what the point of that is.
Why would you make friends with people like that?
Yeah, like, what's the point of developing a relationship with somebody when they're probably going to die or be a murderer, essentially? But it always applies back to skills. So it equates it to if you interact with somebody long enough, you learn a skill that they have, and you're able to apply it to the courtroom. So, like, if you talk to somebody who's very well-mannered and well-spoken, then you learn a skill that's along those lines, and it adds to your stats when you're trying to do things in the courtroom, depending on what stage you're in. So I thought that was a good way to do it. Because I was like, okay, that gives me a reason, right? A reason to, like, talk to people. Because otherwise I would have been like, why do I need this free time? This doesn't make any sense. But, yeah, I think the pacing of it is a lot better than Persona. Obviously, there isn't nearly as much to it as Persona, because in Persona, there's so many places to go. There's so much stuff to do. And this is very contained. But I'm enjoying it a lot. I've been playing it a lot. So I would recommend it. Many people looked over my shoulder and thought for sure I was playing Persona 4 because the art style is a little bit similar.
It's quite similar, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll push into it again when I get the time.
Okay. I would say try it one more time.
Yeah, I'll give it another shot.
I think the first murder happens pretty quick.
Okay.
So I think you could get to there. Like, I'd love for you to just get to one of the trials and see if you enjoy, going through like the whole murder trial, because the trial takes a while and goes through a lot of different phases, but it's all interesting to me.
Fair enough.
So
I don't know what the fuck's with Jesse's camera over the last 10 minutes. It's been pretty terrible.
I know, he's just...
Is he actually...
Sorry, I'm watching the death scenes, the executions. These are horrifying. What is the matter with you?
Don't spoil anything for anybody.
Yeah, don't spoil anything.
You're a sick human being. These are not like, oh, that's clever and cute. That's horrifying. These are disgusting. What is the matter with you?
It's so cool. The animation is so cool in comparison to the way the rest of the game looks. Like, oh, I love it. Also, if you've seen the anime, everybody told me that the game ends differently than the anime. But I will say, so far, I'm pretty far into it, and the big plot points are exactly the same as the anime, but there is a lot more to get out of the game because it's a game. It's essentially like watching a movie version of a book. The book is always going to have way more to it, but the big plot points are the same. So
you know what? The Japanese, here's the one thing I enjoy about this game. The blood's bright pink. It's neon pink blood.
It actually looks super cool.
It is so weird. It is. I went to go, while you were talking about it, I was looking up stuff about the game, and there is just a ton of cosplayers for this thing that I've never heard of before, except for when you talk about it. Like, there's tons! Mind you, they're all gorgeous. Even the bear. Even the bear, I'm like, damn, that is very good. That bear is very good. It's whatever.
Yeah, and the second one's coming out, and they've already said that they'll bring it to North America, so.
So creepy. Just creepy. You guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Danganronpa.
I actually watched a little bit of a different anime. I felt like, hey, I should watch an anime. The last anime I watched was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I'm like, yeah, this was good. I don't feel the desire to keep watching anime, but I stumbled across Black Butler on Netflix.
I've never watched Butler, actually.
Seems like a hentai to me.
It's not. It's pretty fun.
Sounds like it.
The strange thing about that is that it's set in England, and they have to try and explain to the Japanese viewers what these various English desserts are, and it's comically fucking stupid. And they use a lot of English words, but they pronounce them horribly. So that's great. Man. That's just brilliant.
There's an anime about basketball called Kuroko no Basket that is in its second season right now, and I've been watching that. And they just introduced a character who's like American.
Oh God.
So funny. Every time she talks, she's like, "Hey, what is going on?" I'm like, no, stop.
If you guys,
it's great.
Speaking of America, Japanese, you know me. The last 2 weeks I've been very like, I don't get Japan. Gaijin Goomba just did a video 5 days ago, that is literally like, I spent 2 years in Japan, and the last couple weeks I've been wondering what the deal is. And if you guys want to know what goes on in Japan, literally it's the most informative video about Japan I've ever watched in my entire life. He's literally like, here's the deal. They just don't give a crap about anyone outside of Japan. They love Japan. They care about Japan. They don't give a crap. And the only experience they have with Americans is what they see on TV. So that's the America they know, and they don't care. If you meet them, they want to know more about you, but it's just out of curiosity. Like, it's just their culture. They don't give a shit. And he's like, that explains why Japanese games are focused on Japanese culture and Japanese stuff, and why Japan likes the stuff Japan likes. And so if you think they're a little insensitive to things, deal with it. They will never change. He's like, that's just the way it is. He's like, and it might sound mean to say that, but go to spend 2 years in Japan. You will understand. He's like, this isn't made up stuff. This is experience. I was like, this explains so much. They don't care. And I was like, at least now I know. At least now I know what I'm getting into. They don't give a shit. It's like, all right, well, good.
Wait, is this the perfect segue into Go-Go Nippon, my first trip to Japan?
Yes, it is. That's a game that you played, Jesse, with Krendor, I believe. And you thought it was incredible, didn't you? You thought it was
best game.
Game of the year. Game of the year.
Krendor came over and we decided we would play that. And we thought we were going to play the whole thing. We made it through day 1 before we quit. We got an hour and 30 minutes in, and we were like, we're done with this. It is legitimately just it's a circle of text. Like, you're a guy who has spent his entire life studying and learning Japanese culture. You go to Japan thinking you're going to meet 2 guys who are going to be your roommates. Turns out they're 2 girls. And these 2 girls, one is really into you, and one's like her older sister, and she's like, you're kind of kid, I guess. And they show you around Japan. Like, that's the whole point. The point is you're supposed to go around Japan and learn things about Japan. You do learn some things, right? You do learn, like, how their transit system works, and about all the different things, and where you can go, and places you can see. And it's, you can learn about culture and how late stores are open. You learn things, it's true, but it's such, like, your character's the biggest idiot who ever lived. He does not understand. Like, you will literally say things like, hey, this is so great. You have a car that you can use everywhere, and you don't have to use money. We don't have that at home. It's like, where do you live?
Where do you live? Exactly.
Like, what are you talking about? Like,
in 2014, where the fuck do you live where you can't use a card of some description?
Like, I mean, you get what they're trying to go for, but I think the translation or something's off with it, because you can buy a transit card, and you can use the transit card not only for transit, but also to buy things at, like, a grocery store or a convenience store, which is, okay, you get it. Like, if I'm going to go there, I'm going to put money on this card, and I will just always use this card wherever I go. That makes sense. But at the same time, it's like the guy's so dumb he doesn't understand basic things that just are mind-blowing. It's things like, at one point, it's nighttime, and you need to go pick up some food, and so the girl's like, I'll go do it, and your guy's like, what? It's 8 p.m. You're going to go out tonight? And she's like, yeah. He's like, oh, is that safe without a male escort? It's like, are you implying that where you're from, women are just brutally assaulted at night? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, here it's great. It's very safe. And he's like, well, I'll go with you anyway. And then you go down to, like, the store, and you can learn how to gamble, like how the gambling works.
I'm watching a bit of it right now, and it, like, not only is this barely even a fucking video game, but as you said, the dialogue is dumb. The bit we just saw on the screen, it was like, apparently he was given, like, a tissue pack by someone in a maid outfit. And it's like, oh, she just gave me this as a gift. Maybe she's interested in me. Like,
and I was like, no.
And it's like, no, it's just free advertising. And it's like, advertising? Like, where do you live that doesn't understand the idea of giveaways? Who is this person?
Amazing.
Luckily, Krendor and I enjoyed ourselves a great deal being very weird with this game. We had fun.
But this game is, like, it's creepy, though, as well. Like, there's...
Yeah, it's very strange. I did find out that right after where we quit, you walk in on one of the girls...
Oh, for fuck's sake. Everywhere I go in this video, I'm trying to skip to a bit that's less creepy, and I'm not fucking finding one.
Nope. So yeah, like eventually, right after we stopped,
She
apparently
doesn't have a nose! Where's her fucking nose gone?
you walk in on a girl like taking a shower, or the one girl that was on the screen.
Enough of
like
this,
she's like
Jesus.
putting her pants on. It's like weird moments like that where it's very like we're gonna try and make it sort of like hentai dating sim, but it's not really. You still like they take you around and then you're like, well, this was fun. Bye. Like we decided to go to Akihabara, the place where all the otaku stuff is. We thought that would be hilarious. Like that's where I want to go. If I go to Japan, I want to go there and I want to see all the crazy shit. And it's literally like, so we went to the store. There's one part where you go into a manga place, and there's an obvious section for porn in the back, and the girl gives you the hardest time in the world. She's like, "You want to go back there, don't you?" You're like, "No, I definitely don't want to." And then in parentheses, it does the best. Like for a character, it is like a guy. It's like, "I'll just come back later when she's not here." It's like, all right. That's a guy thing. Like,
That's the first believable thing we've ever heard from that guy all day.
Right? He's like, oh yeah, no, I'll just come back later.
I'm not that kind of guy, no.
It's got a cute premise. It's poorly written. It's lots of just talking about things that are really obvious. But I guess that's sort of the point. Maybe it's trying to teach people how to go to Japan
and be horribly
get around
socially
in Japan.
awkward and creepy in the process. Great.
But it is very strange that a guy who spent his entire life prepping for this trip to Japan knows nothing about Japan.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
He's like, I've always wanted to go. It's like, if that's the case, you know jack about what you're getting into. It'd be easier if he was like, I am here on a business trip and I don't know anything. Oh, look, these two women will help me. Like, that would be a better setup.
Women, women as in fully grown, like, legal women, instead of this bullshit. With the shiny booby sweater thingy.
God. That's they put that on, which is really funny. The girl, the older girl, aka there are two of the three Japanese anime girls in this. You have big boobs and no boobs. There's no medium boobs in this game, and so no boobs. She's really into you, but she's like, I assume 12. It's very creepy. Although I was told by people that 13's legal there, which somehow makes it better. I'm like,
that does not sound right at all. That's all right in any way.
And then Big Boobs is just like, yeah, that's my sister. She's weird. And that's like where it is. And so the younger sister is like, we're going to take you on a tour. And then all of a sudden she brings out like tour guide outfits. She's like, I made them for you. It's really fun, isn't it? And the older sister's like, that's my sister. And you're like, what is going on right now? It's a thing. It's a really weird thing. But if you want to laugh, go watch.
It was super, super cheap on Steam, so I bought it. But I still haven't played it because it looked real boring. Yeah.
Oh, it does look really boring. Like, not only is it creepy as fuck and apparently lacking in any sort of artistic merit, but it seems dull.
Yeah.
It's not done well by the looks. There's a lovely, the all-time peak of users for this game was 169 at any point. Currently, there are 52 people playing Go Nippon. There's a great new site called Steam Charts that tells you that stuff from hour to hour, which is really fucking useful.
Steam Charts.
It's incredibly useful information. I use it to track like the effects of my videos and shit, and we usually we'll see a spike like after a video of people playing. And it's useful info to give to companies like, hey, look at this. You know, we I think doubled or maybe even tripled the numbers of people playing Card City Nights at one point and stuff like that. It's cool, you know. It's a good site. But thankfully, Go Nippon is not that successful, but it's more successful than I have a feeling it deserves to be.
Someone in chat said it's supposed to be a satirical thing like, hey, you think you know Japan, but you don't. The problem is to understand anything about Japan, you have to sit through just incredibly awful wave after wave of text that's just like, I didn't know this was a thing. It's a thing. Is it a thing though? I guess so. And then they're like, yeah, no, this is how we work. Like, that's crazy that's how it works here. At home it doesn't work that way. And like, nope, that's how it works. Like, really? That's weird how it works like that. It's like, oh my God. just agree with these women so you can go on a date with them and let's get this shit over with, dude. You are doing it wrong, my friend.
God.
It's a good game. Weird.
Yeah. I think like that, what you've just kind of described is the reason why the vast majority of anime I cannot fucking stomach watching. because there's too much of that bullshit. Even Black Butler has a bit of that, unnecessary kawaii bullshit. But it's mostly kind of, hey, there's supernatural stuff and demons and a Reaper with a chainsaw and this butler who does all this cool shit and is also stealing people's souls and shit. But, and that was okay. But, I don't know, it almost feels like you've just got to, like, you've got to dig through mountains of fucking anime bullshit in order to find something that's worth watching. And half the time, like, this isn't worth the fucking effort. I'm gonna go watch House of Cards or Breaking Bad or something that I know's good. What is the point?
I don't get you, Dodger. I can't. Look, I've had my experience with anime. In college, I dated a girl who was really into it. I told you this before. I've seen some stuff that I was like, I don't know what I'm watching right now. Why is this man traveling through electrical lines with a baseball bat? This doesn't make any sense to me. I'm done. That was it. She got me with Cowboy Bebop. I was in with that. I own DVDs of that. Mwah, phenomenal. But it's not anime. It's like Americanized anime.
It's not anime.
It's not. It's like an American. It's like a bunch of Americans got together. Like, let's make an anime spoof. That's Cowboy Bebop. It's about as American of an anime as you can get. It's true. It's true. The rest of them, like, I don't. When every anime that I've ever watched ends with something really like, it's metaphysical. And the Earth was actually a cradle for space, baby. It's like, what the fuck is happening? What is going on right now? That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I do love my animus.
Trigun was fun. Trigun was just a silly western with a silly character and people saying "Vashta Stampedo" over and over again, which will never get old, as it turns out.
Trigun's great. Death Note is great. Samurai Champloo is great.
I need to watch that. I've been told I should watch that one.
That's great, but the ending, again, like most anime endings, I thought was one of those quick, like, F it, we're done. We set out what we created to do. Screwed the last two episodes.
Isn't the reason for that a lot of them, they start after a manga gets popular or whatever, and then they start to make an anime of it, and then it gets ahead of the manga?
That happens.
Because isn't that what happened to fucking Full Metal Alchemist, the original one, where it went completely off the rails?
Alchemist.
Yeah, but the Brotherhood, I watched both, and I liked both. And I think it's probably my favorite, like, series. It kept the pacing right. There wasn't too much filler. There wasn't too much bullshit. It was genuinely funny at times. Thankfully, it pretty much lacked any really creepy, awkward, horrible love stories or anything like that. That was all not there at all, which was good. So, and it was nicely animated. So that was fun. It actually had a good plot.
I prefer Brotherhood, but I do like both. I agree with you.
Yeah, they're both pretty good.
Great.
The ending for the original Full Metal was a bit weird. Like, I gotta say. But and both of them have some pretty fucking dark moments. Like, I'll give them the credit for that. It's like, whoa, that's depressing and really, really horrible. But yeah, I just don't have the time mostly to sift through stuff, especially considering like it often takes a while to get into any of those series. So
there are a lot of aspects of anime that like I don't even realize are happening anymore because I've watched so much of it that when a friend of mine watches anime and hasn't watched it in a really long time, they're like, why are they making so many sounds when no one's talking? Like, just like weird, like emotive sounds when no one's mouths are moving, no one's doing anything. It's just like filler noise. And I don't recognize it anymore. I just don't even hear it. Like,
yeah. Well, there's a few that I do want to watch that seem they're very, very good. But I need to like find a website which is like, hey, here are animes for people that don't like animes. That's the place I need to go. Here's like 5 or 6 series that are actually fucking worth watching, and everything else is junk. Don't even bother with it. Yeah.
Well, I'm not the person to talk to about that.
No, apparently not. Let's get back onto video games. We got slightly sidetracked by Go-Go Nippon, which is another thing that game is guilty of. There you go. Jesse, you have gone super pixely for a second. Can you restart your webcam?
I'll block.
Yeah. Do I sound okay, or am I just pixely?
You sound fine to me.
You sound fine. Yeah. It's
all right. Hold on.
Yeah.
Blop.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in chat. The only thing I remember of that was the fighting game on the Dreamcast, which was really strange fighting game. But it was
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is super weird.
Yeah. Well, it is called Bizarre Adventure. I suppose that's to be expected.
It's super weird.
Yeah.
You look about the same for me, but I'm not the one who matters.
Yeah, hopefully you'll just eventually kind of clean up.
Well, at the break, I'll turn it off. I'll turn everything off. Anyway, speaking of moments of darkness in storytelling, I played a game this week called The Yawhg.
The Yawhg, yes.
Which is a really interesting, I would say, party game. I don't know that it's a full-on game. It's like a party game where
it's designed for local co-op, right?
Yes, yeah. It's 1 to 4 players, although technically it's 2 to 4. But you can play as one person playing 2 characters. But there are 4 characters, and you have 6 weeks, which is basically 6 turns. So the most the game will take is like 20, 25 minutes. Okay. If you have 4 players, maybe 40 total. And you are characters in this town, and the Yawhg comes in 6 weeks, and it's going to destroy the town and destroy everything. And you have different locations you can go to where you can do multiple different things. So, for example, at the alchemy tower, you can either clean up or you can brew alchemy, right? Or you can brew like a potion. And each one of those options gives you several story bits. So, for example, maybe one time you go to the alchemy tower and you're cleaning up, and a woman comes there selling alchemy wares or whatever. Or maybe another time you go there and a guy creates, I think in one of my scenarios, a guy brought a ferret or something back to life, and you have a choice to kill it or let it live. But it's a choose your own adventure. So it's all these characters have choose your own adventure bits. But the thing is, all your choices affect the stories of other people. So, for example, in one of my stories, I basically set aside one of my playthroughs where I was going to be one guy was just going to play in the arena, and this one girl was just going to do, I think, go in the woods and hunt. Like, only thing I was going to do with them, just so I could see all the options. And every time I did it in that game, it gave me something new. Something more was added to the story. So the guy in the arena, he started out as a very tough arena guy, and he eventually met his ex-girlfriend. She was dating the #1 guy in the arena, and so you had like that storyline. And then he sees a person who's doping, and I turned that person in. I was like, "Don't dope, nerd." And then I tried to get over the fact that my girlfriend was dating this guy, and I played a very straight character. Meanwhile, the woman, I had her out in the woods hunting, and she got like mauled by a werewolf and had like a 24-hour werewolf curse, and she ended up with like dryads, and like dryads were like it was this whole thing. And then one turn, she goes into the woods, and in the woods is a person who's hung themselves, and at the bottom is all these like cracked potion bottles, and when you go up to her, you find a note, and the note basically says that she's the girl from the Coliseum who was doping, and since she got kicked out, she had no place to live and killed herself. And so you stumble upon her, this other character stumbles upon her body, and I was like, what? And so the things that overlap, like you don't know how it's gonna connect. And so in some games, so basically the Yawhg comes after 6 weeks, destroys the town, and then now with the abilities you've gained over those previous 6 turns, you have to decide what your role in the creation of this new town's going to be. And based on what your abilities are, you can either do really well, which the first time I did great. I brought the town back to life. Everything was wonderful. Second time, I completely failed. The town died, and everything horrible befell my characters. And it was so perfect because what happened was the girl, because she was a hunter, she like left town because she failed miserably because I made her the leader because I thought that would work. She failed miserably, left town, got killed by the same... Like, she became a werewolf and killed a bunch of people, and then she goes out in the woods and gets killed by something that looks like a werewolf, right? So that was her fate. The guy, he gets so depressed because the town's ruined that he joins arenas and starts taking potions as like a bodyguard. And so he's now doping, and he ODs and dies of the potion, the same thing that he was like, don't do that. And so it was great. There was one when I did really good where I brought the town back to life, and my main guy that I played as, he was filthy rich. He was like a gambler, and he was he was into just drinking and celebrating with people in the town, and he got a lot of money. And so in the end, I said, well, let's make him the guy who melts all his money down, and he helps rebuild the town. And what happened is, after he gave away all his money, he just sort of was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna go live out in the woods. He lives out in the woods, and he dances with the dryads and gets drunk at their parties, and like that's how he lives his life after he saves the town. The woman character that I played as, she went and worked at the hospital, and so I had this whole storyline where she was at the hospital, and at the end, she like, well, I led this town, I saved them, F it, I'm gonna go back to the hospital. And then because her life is so interesting, I
I guess a playwright at the hospital writes a story about her. She becomes a celebrity, but she still works at the hospital. Like this, it's this huge. Everything you do sort of affects everything else, and that was only with 2 players. So I imagine 4 players, the intricacy of all the stories, everyone's story will connect in some way, and it's a really quick game you can play. Like it's going to take 20 minutes, and that's what we can. It's like a very good friend zone style game where it's you and your friends, and you each have your own stories,
Hint.
and you all and you all sort
let
of
me write an email to the bunnies who put on Friend Zone.
Yeah, it's a cheap game. It's like $7.99 or something like that, and it's very, very cute. And it's definitely a game to play with friends, because every time I played it, story, even though sometimes it gave you the same story options, like the vampire. At one point, you meet a vampire in a back alley.
Careful with spoilers, by the way. I actually want to play this game.
Okay, at one point you meet a vampire, but I will say that even though the options are the same, the outcomes are different every time. So even though it might say you have this choice or this choice when dealing with this vampire, the outcome is constantly different. So sometimes
that impresses me a lot, because a lot of those games are trial and error. The problem I think with it is that if the choices don't have any consistency, then how can you make a good choice? I mean, because you just said that they're different every time. So
I mean, here's something that that I think is I mean, this is just an example. There's a alchemist woman who comes into the alchemy tower, and she has like trinkets, like all sorts of trinkets, and she's going to bestow one upon the best alchemist there. Sometimes you're the best alchemist, sometimes you're not, and sometimes based on things you do, like things change. And so there's also moments where if you become a mythical beast, you go crazy in an area, it cuts off that area for everyone else because you've murdered everyone in that area. So now suddenly,
I love that feeling of consequence. That, I mean, this is something I wanted to stream with Jen and do a couple of playthroughs of, because obviously I wanted to assess it. And I think it was you who told me, don't fucking do it on your own. Do it with somebody else.
Don't play it on your own. I played with myself on 2 characters, and it was fun because you got to see the little things that happen, but I chose what I chose because I wanted to see if they would mesh together. I'm sure there are people out there, if you have 4 people, one person's going to be an asshole and just try to mess with everything. Like when my one girl had 24-hour werewolf sickness, I took her to a garden and said, just calm down in here. Don't, stay away from people. And she went nuts and murdered everyone in the garden, and it shut the garden down, and I couldn't go to the garden. And so there's certain things, like sometimes I went back through, sometimes you don't do that. Like, it's like, okay, so, and I don't know the different solutions. Like, there's obvious, some things make it better, but I didn't play it enough to understand, because there's so many options. I'm sure there's certain things you can do to make certain things happen that trigger certain effects. But because I didn't have enough chances to go through it,
you didn't figure those out. That sounds like it's right up my alley. I love that kind of stuff. I've loved choose your own adventure since I was a kid. So the idea of having basically 4 choose your own adventures running simultaneously that affect each other, that sounds incredible. The only problem, of course, is that you can't do online multiplayer with it. So I'm gonna have to borrow the missus for it and see how that one works out. But yeah, that's the Yawhg. The Yawhg, spelled W-A. It's Y-A-W-H-G, I think. Or is it? No.
The outcomes.
No.
Y-A-W.
I thought no. It's
right?
Is it Y-A-H
W-H-G.
Yeah.
H-G.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people are saying it's based, your stats decide what happens to you. That is true for the end of the game. I cannot vouch for that being during the actual gameplay. Right. The last part of the game where you decide what your character is going to be in the new city that you build, and it gives you suggestions. And so for the first game that I won, I didn't choose what it suggested you to be, and I won. The second time it suggested I do certain things, and one guy was like, "You're doing a great job," but one person was like, "No, you people follow you because you have a lot of charisma, and they wanted you to be the leader, but you don't know what the hell you're doing." And so you led them into the ground. And I was like, "Oh shit, I probably shouldn't have listened to what they said." So that's fucking
cool.
Yeah, you need to know what each of those things, like finesse and there's charisma, then there's other things like finesse, I assume is dexterity, but you can't just go with what the game says. The game gives you suggestions, but the game is only suggesting it based on what your highest ability is. Right. And my charisma was through the roof, but I had no other skills, and I would have been a better anything else
then leader.
So basically, you turn yourself into the motherfucking Pied Piper and ran everyone into the river. Yeah, lovely.
Everyone died. It was like they were like,
That's
your town.
brilliant. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
And the endings, the music is really, the music has that weird vibe of when you do something good, it feels happy, but when you do something bad, it feels bad, but it's the exact same song at the end of the game. And it's like, because it has this weird, echoey sort of like vocal movement with it. And so it's like, oh yeah, no, I did it. I feel inspired and happy. But if you suck, you also feel really bad. And it's the exact same song. I was like, that's brilliant. They pulled that off.
This song's got layers.
Yeah, it's
cool.
very fun. It's meant for playing with friends in the same room for, a 20-minute spurt, and then that was fun, guys. Maybe next time we'll try something different.
Cool.
It's very creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
I actually played a little bit of Diablo 3.
Yeah. How are the changes to that?
Do you like it? Look,
I don't know
like
yet. I what I've read of it, and I've played a bit, and I've read more because I was very interested in what was happening. I don't know. It's still Diablo 3.
Yes.
But I like what they've done to the difficulty system. I like that they haven't artificially gated that. That's lovely. It's like, oh, play the game 4 times to get to the game. No, they've decided we're not going to do that. We're going to give you more options there. I have noticed that the loot drops I've been getting have been way more relevant and way more interesting. So,
well, they're supposed to focus more on your class now,
yes,
right?
they've got so-called smart loot now, so...
You would think you can reset your story so you can go back to the story again to get all the best loot possible.
Right.
So like if you get the skeleton key, you can get that whatever the orange legendary, you can get that free legendary.
Okay.
The problem is the legendary I got from the skeleton king was for a demon hunter, and I'm a wizard.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's not
like,
that smart loot then.
I was like, that's not very smart.
Those are all buying on account now, though, aren't they? Like all the legendary items.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can basically send them to your other character.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've heard that. Apparently they've abolished a bunch of stuff at the end game that I don't fucking know anything about. But
they cut down on some of the like the random just BS dialogue that you have to click through. They cut down on some of that.
It's just more about like playing Diablo now, right?
Well, apparently, like a lot of the skills and the runes are like completely redone and shit. And the problem is, like, I don't think I played enough of Diablo 3 to even like have a focus point as to because I just kind of got bored of it, and it was so long ago that I played it. I can't even figure out why I got bored of it.
It's actually I played through it this past weekend. I started at Paragon when I actually started doing this. I started at like Paragon level 5. That's when I quit Diablo, and now I'm like 20 something, and it's actually a lot of fun because then the Paragons aren't just like you get plus 3% the gold and plus 3% the damage. Now it's like
shit.
You have to put them in certain categories. So there's one that's like offensive skills, one that's so every time you get a new one, it bumps into another category. So you can choose what you want to like how to affect your character. And I was like, oh, this is actually great. So now I have like just a super glass cannon that does 12 billion points of damage, but like 3 hits and I'm dead. But it doesn't matter because everyone's dying in front of me. It's great. And if you're with a group, all you do is just stand in the back and just unload on guys. And it works really, really well. And I've had a blast with it. It's actually, I'm actually enjoying the mechanics of the gameplay. I have played the beta, so I'm a little fearful for the actual launch because the beta shows you everything about the story except for the very, very end, which worries me a little bit because I'm like, there really wasn't much story in the expansion. So I don't know. As a guy who was in Diablo to see what happens with the story, I'm like,
As a guy that only gives a fuck about loot drops and making things explode, I'm still in 2 minds about it. Sorry, Dodge, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's fine. I played through Diablo 3 twice. Like the time that we all live streamed it, Jesse, and then I played it through again on the next highest difficulty, and then I was just done. I was like, I have no reason to keep playing this. Like, what would you say, Jesse? What would you say about it is different enough that it would make you want to keep playing it?
Well, I don't know if it's based off of, like, I set it to Torment level 1. Like, they have different difficulties now. And
there's 6
Torment.
levels inside of Torment, right?
Yeah, so it's Torment 1 through 6. There's no way I'll try 6 yet because I imagine you have to be like level 70 and so like it's very like Torment 1 is difficult as is with 4 people,
Torment, because normal mobs are not difficult, but any yellow or blue, like, one-shot you. Because they have every special ability imaginable, and it does 12 billion damage, and it's just a pain in the ass. So I don't know if it's the difficulty level that makes it more fun, because you're doing a lot more like, oh shit, I need to be thinking about my strategy here. But you play the game, you can reset your game, and you keep everything, but you just reset the story parts of it. So you play through the game Act 1 to Act 4, and while doing that, I've noticed a lot of things different, like the Magda fight, I think they changed a little bit, although I can't be sure, because maybe she was just really easy before.
No, they did change her. I actually noticed that in the patch notes. Apparently they changed Asmodan and a whole bunch of other stuff as well.
Yeah, like a bunch of things have changed. Like boss fights, they made much more tactical than just, everyone attack and kill her really quickly. And so there's a lot more actually happening going. So far, I'm impressed with the game. I still think it has the shittiest story ever made, and it pisses me off to this day. But gameplay-wise, I'm enjoying playing it. And I just press spacebar through all the story scenes and just don't give a shit anymore. I'm like, boop, 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 let's go kill more. And that part's fun. And seeing a lot of people just go in and try new things and get items that like yellows now you don't have to go back and figure out what they are. Now they're given to you as like, you know what this stuff is. The only thing you don't know are legendaries. It's like, oh, okay, so that's all I have to focus on now, because the rest of it's just, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Like they've done a lot to make it more streamlined and more fun and more about being out there doing things than like, oh my god, there's so much crap loot on the ground. You don't see that much white stuff anymore. Blue stuff is very rare. Maybe it's because I'm just on Torment level. But all I get are yellows. No,
even I try again. I loaded up my 25 barbarian or whatever, and I saw barely any white drops at all. It was mostly blues, and there were fairly good class relevant blues, and the occasional yellow. And I'm like, okay, it seems to be working, and there was some XP boost things. I tried going onto hard, and it wrecked me. Like, I think, honestly, it recommends, you've got to have a lot of good blues from Reaper of Souls to pull this off. And my gear is obviously from launch, which is piece of shit gear that barely, like, does anything, and I just got murdered. So, yeah.
Hard is only the third, because it's easy, medium, hard, and then master, expert.
So there's expert,
master.
Yeah, so they've changed the system around. Because obviously it used to be that you could only access like Hell and Nightmare and Inferno after you'd beaten the game on the previous difficulty level. Now that's not the case. There's Torment is locked, and I think maybe one other difficulty mode is also locked, like you've got to be Act 4.
Whatever's after or before Torment. It's those two top ones that are locked.
Isn't it?
Expert?
Yeah, so I think Expert is locked until you beat the game once, so until you beat Act 4. But but normal and hard, you can switch between them. And if you play hard, you get 75% bonus to experience and gold, I think. But it's fucking tough, and you probably want to play that as a group. So, yeah, apparently, normal, hard, expert, master, torment. Yeah. So you actually can play expert as well.
Yeah.
So the gaining requirements are less ridiculous from what I've understand. And it means you don't have to play the same game through multiple times to get to the difficulty level you want to, which is good. You only have to play it through like once. Apparently there's some XP boost running right now as well. If you play, there's like 50% XP boost to help you level your characters up quickly. I think basically what they're hoping to do is hook you back in before Reaper of Souls comes out, so you'll actually buy that. That might work. I still think I like Path of Exile more though. Like, I played a bit of it. Maybe I just need to roll a different class. I feel like I want to give it another shot, because I appreciate it when any company swallows their pride and fucking redoes the whole thing and actually says, you know what, we're a fucking idiots. Let's fix that. You know, the fact they're removing the auction house, I never, ever thought they would do that. Like, that is a serious amount of pride swallowing required to do that. So you've got to respect that, and, like, if they do that, like, in my opinion, the thing you do as a responsible consumer, especially if you already own the fucking game, is give it another shot. You know? They're trying to please you, so try it, and if they've done good by you, then reward them for that. So I'm gonna roll up something else, and I don't think Barbarian's for me. Maybe I think
I'll try Monk.
Monk, maybe, yeah. I have a level. Great. I've got a level 10 mage lying around, a wizard or whatever. I didn't really like him initially, but I've heard that they've changed some of the skills around. So maybe a monk. Maybe I know Witch Doctor's kind of silly as well.
Oh yeah, those are still perpetually OP. You just throw guys at enemies, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm in the background. Go get them, minions."
Witch Doctor's is kind of fun. The weird thing I have about caster classes in Diablo style games, and generally I don't play caster classes, is because I feel that in most of them, with probably the exception of Torchlight 2, most of the time the weapons you get, the weapon upgrades, don't feel anywhere near as impactful upon you. If you get a fucking giant sword, like, say Path of Exile, I actually can't remember what I play. Yeah, I play a dual. I play a
swashbuckler.
I play a duelist. I play a two-handed duelist, which sounds weird, but it works pretty well. And when I got that legendary weapon, the whole game changed for me because I got that weapon. But if I did that with like a mage character, so I'm like, oh well, my fireballs are more powerful now. It's like, well, no, I want it to feel different. And most of the time, it seems like those kind of games don't allow that. I have a feeling that things might be better now because they're saying, yeah, you can totally get some incredible... You can get some incredible items that will really give you a bunch of really fun procs, like summoning zombie dogs and all that kind of stuff. I know. Yeah. I mean, all Diablo 3 abilities are based on weapon damage. I know that for a fact. But even then, there's a difference between getting something which is basically a stat stick and something which is, this is a giant motherfucking fire axe that spawns frogs and everything explodes when you hit them with it, and you fucking teleport, and it gives you a shield, and you can see all that. There's something more visceral, like you get that direct feedback from
OP.
it. Yeah, you feel OP. That's the goal in all of those games, to feel overpowered. You chase the loot, which makes you feel like a fucking monster. And I'd never got that feeling as a caster class in a game like that, and I've played a lot of games like that. So, when I play melee classes, I always felt that way. But for some reason, I'm not getting that in Diablo 3, even though I have that in Path of Exile.
I prefer melee in dungeon crawlers just in general anyway. I feel more like I'm involved in the actual game.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've got an engineer in Torchlight 2, and it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, it's so satisfying. Just swing your giant fucking hammer, and just stuff comes apart, like, boom, smash, Hey, I've got a prop for that, Just like, boom, smash, fucking, yeah.
Right,
It's it's more visceral, You just swim your giant fucking hammer around.
There is a build for the wizard that basically is, you do that slow bubble where everyone moves slowly, and then you just unleash in that bubble the most ridiculous, like, teleport attack. Look, I'm thinking it's OP. I'm thinking they did not see that. Because literally all you do is run into a pack of enemies, slow them through, like, and then you just spam really quickly and they all die. And you're like, well, that was fun. I'm like, this is great.
That's a thing.
This is the best build that was ever made. And so the tanks can't even get there in time. They run ahead. They have to run way ahead of you because you just teleport around and then you jump into a pack and then murder everything. And you're like, well, this is fun. I'm done. They're actually doing very, very good things with it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll probably play Reaper of Souls. I'm gonna I think try my wizard out again, or maybe just roll up a witch doctor from the start and play with like the new loot experience and see what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play Crusader just because that's a ridiculously fun class. I'm playing the beta. That'll be a blast to play because you're very tanky, but you're also like, have my hammer, bitch. You just slam it down, and you get a shield bash that if you hit one guy, it like shoots out to other guys too. Oh,
lovely.
It's wonderful.
I'm excited.
I'm kind of worried about what's going to happen with Reaper of Souls launch, though, because, there's a good reason to condemn that game on the fact that there's no proper single-player mode and the fucking lag associated with it. I just remember I was on a train back from London, and I thought, oh, this is a perfect time to play the Diablo 3 beta. Was it? Fuck! I was able to use the train Wi-Fi to log in, but the lag was so bad. I'm like, why can't I play Diablo on a train? I was able to play Diablo 2 on a fucking train, and all these other games, I can play fucking Torchlight on a train. Why can't I play Diablo 3 on a train? It's like, no, lag, like completely unplayable lag, die to random shit that you didn't see on the screen. Fuck that!
Yeah.
So
I like some of the legendaries are fun. They threw in some WoW legendaries now.
Oh, apparently Thunder Fury's in
game.
there. Yeah. Oh shit. Can I have my Azure Song Mage Blade? I want my Mage Blade back. Roll for the Mage Blade.
There's a lot of stuff, but having played the beta, and I'm not sure what you can even say. I guess you can, because they already said that. Having played the beta,
the NDA's been gone for fucking forever.
The adventure mode's a lot of fun.
I was gonna say I don't think there's an NDA.
Yeah, there's no idea.
Adventure mode's cool. You just dick around with friends, getting loot. Story mode, there's a lot of cool moments, but it's like they saw, like, here's all the things we need to wrap up in the story, and they did really quickly. And it's like, this is all very convenient, and I'm not sure that I enjoy the storytelling in this game anymore. Like, you guys, it's depressing to me that the Diablo expanded universe, in fact, all Blizzard expanded universe, is way better than the actual stories in the games. They're like, yeah, no one cares, so go read a book, nerd. It's like, wow, thanks, guys.
Someone trying to be clever is like, oh, but you can't play Path of Exile on train. Yeah, Path of Exile's fucking free. Like, it can get away with a lot more than a $60 game.
True.
With microtransactions in it. A lot more. I will forgive that. Free-to-play games being online only is kind of the only way that they work, so I accept that. Because it's also fucking free. You know, that's the trade, the sacrifice you make. But, yes. Yeah, I'll play a bit more. I might roll up a new character tonight and see where I go with it.
Yeah, I should open that up, too. I didn't uninstall it, right, Self?
I just reinstalled it. It's like a 20 gig install, so...
Yeah, there's a lot of
still
patching.
On here. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of patching you have to do still.
Oh,
it's probably worth it just uninstalling the game.
That. Oh, God.
Just reinstall the game from the new Battle.net launcher. It's a lot quicker, I think.
You think so? Than patching it?
I don't know, maybe.
The patching, what it does is it does that Blizzard thing where it's like, we are now reconfiguring files on your computer, and it takes like 20 minutes to even start the patch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got to ask, before we go to a break, has anyone played Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare yet?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I played it on Friend Zone.
Yeah, I did. I have not played it yet, so you're basically the only one here who's played it. Come on, I want to know what you think of it. I'm really interested.
Well, the EA servers crashed on us multiple
lovely.
times. So, I don't think that I really got enough of an experience with it. Every time that we tried to play, we failed horribly. It wasn't very clear in how we were supposed to go about playing the game, which is weird. I don't know. Because there are like all these different plant classes that you can play, right? And they all have different abilities. Mm-hmm. And you're given a small garden that you're supposed to protect, but then you're also supposed to capture points.
Right.
So the way that you protect your garden, if you have to like run off and capture a point, is there are little empty pots that are kind of like vaguely around your garden. Yeah, where you're supposed to plant stuff. But you can't plant stuff in there unless you have enough sunlight, enough of like the sun currency. So when we played a game without anybody playing a sunflower, and you can only split screen with two, so with local co-op it was only two people, so neither of us was a sunflower because we didn't realize that you needed sunlight, and so we played through almost an entire game and never had enough sunlight to plant anything to protect our garden. And I was like, what are we doing wrong here? Like, something's very wrong. But then when one person was the sunflower, you were able to plant stuff almost immediately. It was very strange. But again, like we didn't get to play it enough for me to say whether it was bad or good. I know a lot of people have really enjoyed it, but just going by like the confusion that we had playing it and then the servers crashing constantly, I didn't have a great experience playing it. But
I thought I'd probably just wait until they came on PC. I don't play multiplayer games on consoles generally, so it didn't seem like it was worth getting. It would have been an excuse to turn my Xbox One back on, which I have yet to have a reason to do, but I think I'll wait for it for PC because, hey, multiplayer and also a shooter of some description, so I'm going to aim with a mouse, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know when it's coming out on PC. They just said, it's coming. We're just not going to tell you when. I'm like, oh, God damn it. Come on.
One day.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I don't know. I heard some good things about it. I just have zero interest in it. I was like, meh. Don't think I can jump on that bandwagon. Sorry.
Yep.
Oh, well. We'll go to a quick break. When we go back, have we actually covered every game? Because, I mean, I knew we said we were going to take like 2 hours to do this because we'd obviously been playing a lot of games the last 2 weeks. Have we pretty much covered everything?
We covered everything that I really wanted to talk. There were other games that I played, but none that we need to really discuss.
Fair. I'm just double checking the list to make sure that we're not missing anything. Yeah, there's nothing we haven't kind of already talked about there, and I'm kind of done on the Warhammer 40,000 Storm of Vengeance topic, so that would just be repeating.
What?
Don't ask. There's
you don't want to talk more?
No. I want to forget that game even fucking exists. Like, for one piece of lost knowledge from the dark age of technology, I hope that is one piece that disappears and never returns. It can be cast out into the fucking warp for all I care. Fuck that game.
Thanks for watching the Co-optional Podcast. We're going to take a break.
Yes, we are. We'll be right back with the news and releases and less Storm of Vengeance.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast. Don't laugh at me. That never went out on air. I didn't have the mic button pressed. It's fine.
I'm not laughing at
Good.
you. Why would I laugh at you?
Glad to hear that. Nothing happened. Not a thing. Not a thing. You just heard the wonderful sounds of Gourmet Race, which is, of course, a Kirby cover. Absolutely fantastic by DSC account, youtube.com/DSC account. His music is pretty cool and also free that you can download, so go and do that. He's done some good StarCraft stuff, too. Shall we get on to news?
Sure.
We could. There's not a huge amount of it, really.
Uh-oh. Dodge had that look of like, are you serious? There's lots of
No.
Well, no, I went, trust me, I had to look at Daily Bite and it was mostly Oscars bullshit, so fuck that.
Yeah. There was like a weird square of like highlight that made me look like a ghost or a mime. And I kept moving around trying to figure out where it was coming from, and I realized it was just this weird patch of light from my patio, so that's what I wasn't doing like what you talking about? I was doing, is that light still there making me look like a mime?
Yep.
But
So
yes,
news.
you're right.
Are you quite finished?
News. I am quite finished.
Wonderful.
What would you like to talk about?
Good question. There's, like, we've had 2 weeks, and you'd hope in fucking 2 weeks something interesting would have happened. We got the interesting news on the last show where it's like, oh, Irrational just fell to pieces. That's interesting. But now we've got,
they're gonna make a Minecraft movie. Notch is like, oh my gosh, guys, somebody's trying to tell you about the movie we're making, but I wanted to tell you about the movie we're making. And I was like, stop it, Notch.
Shut up. Well, that's that piece of news. There's a new series of Greenlight games. They're just being, I'm lacking interest.
Most of them are not worth the green light.
Well, most of them
whatever.
just aren't. Like, what the fuck? Does that look like some kind of weird fucking porn game? Oh god, what is it with these?
Go on.
We're back to the anime bullshit. There's a game called Backstage Pass, and if I mean, just looking at the image for it. Okay, the trailer, the first fucking thing that happens is they zoom right in on this girl's breast. Yeah, that sounds about right. More anime bullshit. It's some life sim visual novel thing.
Yeah. We could talk about the European Commission that talked about free-to-play games.
We fucking well could do that. That's an interesting topic.
Yeah, let's
bring up the news article on that one.
Free-to-play. Basically, they met with Microsoft and Apple specifically and said, we need to come up with rules about what counts as a free-to-play game because people are getting duped and it's unfair.
Yep.
And essentially wanted to lessen the number of misleading free-to-play games there are available to consumers and specifically children.
Yep.
I'm trying to find... They made like kind of bullet points. Yeah. Yeah, at first when I was reading it, I was like, I wonder if this is going to be a little too limiting. But the more I read, the more I was like, no, it's not at all. No. I'm trying to find the one that has pretty good bullet points.
Yeah, I've got a couple here, actually, from the Eurogamer article. They've got a good amount of information on this. So basically, there's 4 issues that they're looking to investigate, and they're trying to figure out kind of what to do about them. And they're looking to set up like new guidelines. The Office of Fair Trading in the UK is looking to do stuff like that. So the 4 issues are: games advertised as free should not mislead consumers about the true costs involved. Games should not contain direct exhortations to children to buy items in a game or to persuade an adult to buy items for them. Consumers should be adequately informed about the payment arrangements, and purchases should not be debited through default settings without consumers' explicit consent. And traders should provide an email address so that consumers can contact them in the case of queries and complaints. All of which sounds entirely reasonable.
I totally agree.
Have you seen the backlash on this though? It's kind of
Backlash from who?
Only Americans.
Developers?
Americans. of
No,
course,
Americans who basically the backlash is
The backlash of
once again
Americans from
telling us what
European
to
issues
do.
that don't fucking matter in any way.
It doesn't even apply to us.
Yeah,
this
it's-
isn't
no, it
happening
doesn't.
in North America.
This is one of those things. where
Howdy,
it's like, it happened
America!
there,
Free market!
it can happen here.
Yeehaw! Exploitation.
And it's honestly something. It's. I assume it has to. There has to be someone in Europe saying the exact same thing. I would imagine, or else
Probably,
I
but
mean,
they're just not as loud and obnoxious.
But the idea is, of course, that they're like, this is government once again telling us what we can and can't.
Big
We're smart to make our own
government.
choices. If we want to spend money on in-game apps, it's
No
like
one,
they're-
no one is
This is
stopping you,
literally-
you fucking idiots! Like,
This isn't limiting you at all. These people
No,
can
it's
still
not.
make these games. These games can still operate in this way. They just have to tell you
put a fucking label on.
exactly what the game is.
Yeah.
What is there to complain about?
Which is hilarious. I mean, we're talking about people from,
you
I know this is kind of stereotyping and broad stroking and almost like, well, it is a strawman argument, but it's too much fun not to continue with. So, this is the land of fucking warning labels we're talking about here. You know, what's wrong with putting warning labels on things? You can make jokes, well, just take the warning labels off everything, the problem will solve itself. You know, as 12-year-olds think is funny. But no, there's nothing wrong with putting warning labels on something, especially
There's
something
a
that
huge difference
parents may not be familiar with.
when money and things like that are behind it. I know Dodger will know this, that here in California, last year, 2 years ago, they tried to put labels on meat if it was genetically modified, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's a really good idea," and it just got shot down real quick.
That's true.
The meat
Yeah.
company said like, "This will ruin everything." Like, yeah, ruin us from trying to figure out which meat is not real. And and so now that, I mean, like that seemed like a very normal thing. Like, I would like to know what meat isn't real meat.
my
And they
God.
were like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. They just scrapped the entire thing.
My favorite
joke.
ad from that whole thing was the one that was like, these labels are on dog food. Why aren't they on people food? And I was like, good question.
Good fucking
question,
question.
advertising company.
And I think it's one of those things where it's like, that's going to be the push. I mean, the same people that put all the money into tricking California voters that like, oh no, we don't want to know what's on our meat. Let's not vote for that. Is the same money that goes to stuff like this. where it's
how
like,
did
we
you-
don't want people to know.
How did you vote against that? How
I voted for it.
How were there enough
So did
dumb
I, yeah.
fucking people in California to vote against being given information?
There you go. Because there's all sorts of stuff like it's going to impact jobs and industry.
Oh yeah, that's
how
what
they
comes
sell
out. Jabs. They're gonna take the jabs. That's the excuse that's
That's
fucking
how we-
used
that's
for
how we say it.
everything.
They took your jib. That's how we say it. South Park represent. They took your jib.
Yeah,
And,
it-
and I'm telling you, it's the same thing that's going to happen with a scenario like this, where it's the companies are going to push back and they're going to be like, you're going to affect the industry, you're going to hurt people, and people are going to be out of work. It's all because you are trying to put regulations on us. The free market will decide.
Yes,
And
we've
that's
noticed how well the
always
free
used.
market did, considering the last 4 fucking years of economic spiral that was caused from a lack of fucking regulation.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm
sorry,
How it all
I come
works.
from the UK, so I never really understand this stuff because we have a lot of consumer like protection authorities in the UK, and pretty much every single one of them does their job well, and in fact, we'd like them to do it more, you know, because we don't mind being given information. Like, that's good. It's good that there's an independent authority that's supposed to fucking back you up when bullshit goes down, because there's no such thing as the fucking free market. You can't fight against the gigantic mega corporation. What fucking buying power do you have? You know,
That's
you've
the,
got
that's the
nothing.
irony of,
you got
of the
fucking
entire situation,
nothing.
where it's like, if you don't like, for example, your cable company, get a new one. It's impossible. I have no other choice. It's either I have cable or I don't.
And it's the same. It's the same with, tie it back in. It's the same with fucking free-to-play games. What does it matter if I think that, games like fucking EA's Dungeon Keeper are exploitative and terrible for the fucking industry? Aside from me being one of the very few fortunate people that has the voice to say that to a lot of people, it doesn't matter because a bunch of schmucks went and put money into it anyway, and I can't stop them from doing that. So what power do I have as a consumer to stop that stuff? There does need to be that kind of information. A lot of games are designed specifically. There are people whose job it is to design games specifically to milk the maximum amount of money out of you by just tweaking little things, tweaking the pacing of a title, making something just infuriatingly slow enough that you're willing to pay for convenience. There is a science to that shit, and it is getting more and more insidious. And yes, something has got to be done about it. Even if you don't agree with regulation and jabs and government and all this other bullshit that you might believe if you happen to come from Alabama, you should believe in the notion that these games are fucking shit. And we want them to stop. Surely that's enough for you as a gamer. That we don't get another EA's Dungeon Keeper.
Well, and again, it's not... They're not stopping these people from making these games.
No, not at all.
They have to inform you exactly what you're getting into. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to scare people into saying, oh, I guess we shouldn't do that in this. I'm fine with that.
They will fight that tooth and nail. I can't wait to see, because the arguments are going to be really clever and things that you never thought that, geniuses are going to get together and be like, how can we spin this? And it's going to be something you never thought would happen, and that's how they're going to sell it to you. It's just not good for gaming in general. What if next they tell you how you can play games? It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope.
There's a reason that's listed as a fucking logical fallacy. It's like, you mentioned the term slippery slope. Then fuck your argument.
Textbook logical fallacy.
The next people will be sleeping with animals. I'm telling you. It's just downhill from here.
Dogs living with cats. It's fucking madness, I tell you. Madness. I would love EA to go in the EU and fucking defend its business practices. I mean, it's not just EA. In fact, EA is probably not one of the worst. Just random indie developers are actually far fucking worse. And they are... These are the indie devs that blew up over the success of a single title and then just became fucking evil. Zynga being prime example, King being another example right now, and there's plenty of other companies that are just like that.
Towards the end of... I guess 3 weeks now, towards the end of the month, GDC is happening, right? And so I was like, hell with it, I'll go for 2 days. I want to see what's going on. I'll go the days they have the open showcases of all the different games. And so I signed up, and now I'm getting emails from all the developers, and 99% of them are indie game iOS developers, things like that. Mm-hmm. Almost every single one is someone who used to work at Zynga or someone who used to do this, and they're all like, oh yeah, so, those clicky clicker games, we got tired of that, and here's our new game. It's a new style game. And when you go to watch the game, it is the exact same thing, but just hidden under other stuff. And you're like, no, I will not come see your game. Your game is ripping off people intentionally. You have to stop doing this. And they're like, we're branching out on our own, because they see how much money's made, and they're like, well, I don't want to work for someone who's doing it. I want to do it myself. And
because you actually don't need hundreds of people to make mobile games. Why do you think mobile games is such a goldmine? Because it's lowest common denominator, more often than not for people that don't know any better, that can be developed in a few weeks by a tiny development team that costs next to nothing to run. That's why so many people make these titles.
It's insane. That's my email just inbox is filled with these things that are just like, come check us out. It's like, I would never in a million years purport to be interested in something like this.
Even I'm getting emails with that stuff, and I'm not even going to GDC, and I'm still getting emails about it. It's like, no.
It's like, why would I ever?
One, you emailed me and not my PR guy. First fucking mistake. Secondly, you develop for iOS. It's done. Why would I even go and see you? Anyway, there's no, I don't see a single reason why there shouldn't be a push towards informing people about what, the business model of a game. Even people that are savvy about games still get tricked from time to time, because these are games that are deliberately designed to have a very easy in, to hook you in, and then they'll ramp shit up over time at very specific parts of the game to try and coerce you into paying money for it. Yeah.
Yep.
It is a science. It's insidious. It's predatory, and that's for a savvy gamer. For a kid or for a parent, that's pretty fucking horrible. That should not be happening. And could we just not encourage people to even make these kind of games? Because they're all shit. Like, every one of them.
Regulations would discourage it.
Yes,
so.
it would. And that to me is a win. People have to start making proper games again that you buy for, a couple of dollars that are actually like good few hours of solid, wholesome entertainment where everything is there and not locked behind a fucking paywall. Great. When can we start doing that?
Yeah, right.
Can we have more games like out there and less games like all the other bullshit that's on there, Every now and again I find a really good game on iOS. Out There, by the way, is one of them. That's it's almost like FTL, but it's less combat focused, way more kind of survival. Lovely art style, great music, awesome writing, loads of things to discover. Fucking great. Continue !98765432110. Oh, another great game. And give me more of that. Give me more fucking Avedon 2 The Corruption. There's been a few really good games that have come out over the last few weeks, and then everything else is just junk. Give me more Threes. Threes is a fucking game.
Yeah, Threes is great.
Yeah. That's a $2 game, no paywall, no nonsense, no microtransactions, no in-app purchases, just a proper fucking video game.
Yeah, Jesse?
I'm trying to read this article and figure out exactly what it's trying to say here. And apparently, only 0.15% of mobile players account for half the revenue of mobile games.
They're called whales, basically. So it's kind of ridiculous that this is true, but apparently it is, according to many, many studies, is that most games these days are designed around the idea of a whale. Basically, someone gets into a game and gets so into the game that they sink a lot of fucking money into it. And by a lot of money, I'm talking like kind of a working adult who has money to burn that sinks hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars into a title because it's pretty much, it's usually because they're like a monogamer and it's the only way that the only kind of relaxation they have. So because they have that money, they invest it into that to make their experience more enjoyable. And those players are what a lot of these games actually target, which is actually indicative of part of the problem with their progression systems. Because if you had a more healthy model would be make it so that a larger majority of the people playing the game want to give a small amount of money because they feel like the developers earned it, But that model doesn't fucking work. Great example is Space Team. There was an article about Space Team, which is a hilarious local pass co-op game.
Space Team is amazing.
Yeah. So you each have a device, and you're trying to make sure your spaceship doesn't explode. But in order to do that, each of you has a randomized set of controls with a bunch of weird shit on it, on your device. And you have to but the instruction comes on the device that doesn't have that. So you've got to tell the other guy, flip the inverse phase Polaris thingy, or reverse the thrust on the engine manifolds. And they have to do that quickly on their controls. And he ships on fucking fire at this point and it was trying to get away.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And every now and then things like meteor showers happen and then everybody has to stop what they're doing and shake their phones and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it's really fun.
Really innovative co-op
game.
Really innovative. And it made next to nothing. It's a free game. And he tried to kind of get by on the goodwill and saying, he sells ship packs and kind of cosmetic stuff and extra missions. And apparently his game, I'm trying to find the article on it because his game made so little money.
That makes me so sad. He's great.
So little. He wrote an article on it. Oh, I think I found a Space Team numbers here. This might be it here. Oh, there's Space Team downloads. I'm looking for Space Team sales, actual money.
While you look that up, here's some more stats on the buying. So most people don't buy anything, but of the people who do, the average time for a first purchase is in 24 hours of playing the game. So immediately they're like, I'm going to spend money on this. And then from that, for those who went on to make a second purchase, after the initial purchase, the average time was 1 hour and 40 minutes. So once they spent money, the average, which means sometimes people were immediately going back and buying more just right away, which, I mean, that's insane. That's insane.
All right, here's some numbers for you. So, Space Team. It's been out 460 days, over a year. Total iOS downloads, 889,000. Okay? iOS total sales, $12,000. Google Play,
Jeez.
$250,000 downloads. Google Play total sales, $367. Basically, total platform sales, he's made 12,000 and has had the game downloaded over 1 million times. Which 12,000 to a teenager sounds, oh, that's amazing. It's like, that is fucking awful. Like, that's terrible. For that many downloads of your game, that monetization rate is atrocious.
If he had even made it like 99 cents, he would have made more.
Yes, he would have.
Much more.
Yeah, if you think about it, you know, it's
insane.
like, oh, 1 million. The problem is you can't really charge for a game like that because it's like forced co-op. So, and I don't think there's a way to like spawn copies on iOS. I'm pretty sure Apple doesn't let you do that. So the only way to kind of do Space Team was to do it that way. And it ended up being, you know, it's... he says, you know, it wasn't a failure, and I agree. But, you know, he analyzed it and said, look, you know, this is the reality. You know, I used to work for BioWare. I made this game, and we made bugger all, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, counting all the other stuff he got, like apparently he won 5,000 euros of prize money at some point. There was a commission for a customized version, which he was paid $3,000 for, and he was given some all-access passes and a flight. And he said, like, total kind of monetary worth of this game, with total earnings, including goods, is $25,000. He says, this isn't quite enough for me to live on, but it's getting close. Great.
Aw.
Brilliant. That sounds fantastic. Yeah, you got your game in the hands of 1 million people, and you can't even pay the rent. Fuck iOS.
Yeah.
Any other news that we want to look at? I mean, I was looking through the Greenlight stuff, and I can't... There's only, like, a couple of games on there that are even worth talking about. One of them being Telepath Tactics, which is an NES-style tactical SRPG, kind of like Fire Emblem. Very interesting. I played it at PAX, got a lot going for it. The graphic style is certainly very old, there's no doubt about that, but the actual game seems to have a lot of depth. So, that looks pretty good. And there's one called Grow, that's the one, which looks fucking adorable.
Wait, just like the normal Grow games?
I don't believe it's like that, no. I've played the Grow game. I played the Grow games, like they were Flash games, weren't they? But
Yeah.
Grow is it seems like it's a third-person combat game where you grow these kind of adorable, weird plasticine creatures, and you scavenge food in order to grow your creature. And
that's on Greenlight?
Yeah, and you can help your teammates by regurgitating food for them to eat. There's online play with dedicated servers, and it looks really interesting, actually. So, yeah, and it also has this adorable little animated avatar for it, which attracted me to looking at the game.
Oh, they're so cute. Look at these little monsters.
But I don't really see too much
They
else
look like
on there.
Pokemans.
Yeah, I don't really see too much else on there there's something called Paper Dungeons, which might be interesting. It's a board game of sorts with rogue-like elements. But outside of that, like, I can't personally identify too much.
A lot of like anime-y games this time.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
lots of those. I thought didn't we talk about the DayZ CEO 2 weeks ago, or did we just talk about DayZ?
We just talked about DayZ because it was the first time that I had played it. So we wound up discussing it just as like a game.
Yeah.
But I don't think we talked about the CEO.
Why
because he stepped down, yeah?
Yeah, he did. Like, why do people are like, oh, scam. So, you know, he wasn't the only person developing this game, right? Like, very much not.
Yeah, no,
since the mod, he has had
left,
a team.
somebody else took over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a full team that's still working on it. He's just not the head of it anymore.
Yeah, I think that it comes down to the fact that people bought in sort of expecting him to finish it, and because it's not him, they now it's like, it's a scam, blah, blah, blah. Wait,
what?
I don't think so. It's kind of ridiculous that he seems to be bailing on the project, though. I guess that's like the only thing he's known for.
If I remember right, his excuse was like, well, I'm the sort of person who's like really manic, and I get projects going, but then once they get too far, I ruin them. So I don't want to ruin this. And I was
what was his,
that's a useful piece of information to know when hiring him in future, then, isn't it? You might not want to put that in your resume.
Yeah.
What was his quote?
He's starting a whole new thing.
Yeah.
His quote is something mind-bogglingly, like, really douchey, and I wish oh, God.
His like, I am a grenade. That whole the
Yes, like,
quote.
where he's like, I'm a grenade.
It's Bruno
and I have
Mars?
certain uses.
Easy
Oh,
grenade.
God, it's incredible.
Catch a grenade for you.
I am a grenade. I'm gonna have to look this up.
I will suplex a train for you.
Easy.
That's
Oh
the
my
line,
God!
right?
Yes, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
Find it. Read it.
Oh God. Ads. All right. I am a grenade. I have a specific use. I'm really good at risk taking and making other people take risks. I've always been good at that in my life. Like you say, maybe I've got a gift of the gab so I can talk. I can explain something. I can talk people up to the ledge and get them to jump off. That's what I did with DayZ. I've done it twice now.
Can we put some film noir music in the background of this?
Like it's
I'm a
incredible. He's like,
grenade.
it's incredible. The thing he's like, but eventually, that's the bad person to have. Eventually, you don't want the guy telling
This
you to
is
go over
film
the top.
noir! Come on!
Yeah.
Put some
like,
sax
at some
music in the
point-
background?
At some point, I'll be a disaster for the project, at least in a leadership role. Like that's what, like he's literally saying, like, I'm a crazy person. You don't want me doing anything with your, like, this is insane what you were saying. It is. He should be smoking a cigarette and have like some sort of like scotch in front of him, leaning back in his chair as like a woman approaches the detective door and like knocks, like,
All right.
are you in there, Dad?
Okay, Jesse, I need you to do your best detective voice. We're gonna set this shit up.
Okay.
I'm hoping this is kind of the right sort of music. I found some film noir jazz music. I think it's called Chinatown.
Oh God, it's probably not. It's
You
probably
need,
not what you think.
I hope it's the right kind of thing. I hope so, because otherwise this is gonna be very silly. What the hell is that? That's not right either.
Yeah, I don't.
Hang on a minute. I think it's like an ad in the background. It's the Greenlight thing for Paper Dungeons. I'm like, hang on a minute, this doesn't sound like that. Okay.
Wait, can I lead you into it? Can I be the
Dame?
the
Yes,
dame?
Are you the dame?
Yes,
Okay.
by all means.
All right.
Ready.
Excellent. Okay, so we are going to begin the jazz. The jazz is beginning.
Jesse, we need you. No, I need you.
I'm a grenade, doll. I have a specific use. I'm really good at risk taking and making other people take risks. I've always been good at that in my life. Like you say, maybe I've got the gift of the gab. So I can talk, I can explain something. I can talk people to the ledge and get them to jump off. But eventually, that's a bad person to have. Eventually, you don't want that guy telling you to go over the top, go through with it. At some point, I'll be a disaster for the project. At least in a leadership role. Boom.
I really hope that came out as well as it sounded here, because holy shit. Well, there's your new podcast animated right there.
That I can't believe that a human being said that and he said it seriously. Like he wasn't like that is maybe my favorite quote ever said by a game developer. It's incredible.
I also
I am
love
a grenade.
that neither of the metaphors work. Yeah, like I am a grenade doesn't imply what he
No.
wanted it to imply. It just implies that he is a loose cannon that's going to just go insane. And then I talk people up to the ledge and make them jump. Does not come across that way. Like the way that you meant that to either. You just sound like a crazy person.
One of my favorite quotes. Like I just can't. Is
Oh, dear.
is he from like a non-English speaking country? I hope he's from somewhere where he thinks that
He's
like in
Australian,
his
right?
language that makes sense.
At least he sounds Aussie. I interviewed this guy
Yes,
once, so I'm like,
all
which is weird because like I interviewed him and
New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand's mostly Aussie. I like the guy a lot. Like every time I've spoken to him, I've really enjoyed his conversation. We did a really cool video about the DayZ mod together, and we explored, and it was awesome. But it is a little weird to kind of just see him abandoning what's basically his baby. And I think the problem is that he is the face of the project. It actually is a nice little analog to what's going on with Irrational. You know, Ken Levine is the face of Irrational, and without Ken Levine, apparently people, including the publisher, don't think that Irrational can be a thing. And I think that that's what a lot of people believe with DayZ as well. They don't have faith in the project without him. But it's weird because my understanding of the DayZ community is they seem to have this kind of love-hate relationship. They seem to respect him a lot and think that he's required, but simultaneously don't like him. So I don't know what's going on with that.
What?
Nothing. I just keep thinking about. A man said, "I am a grenade." I mean, that's an incredible quote. That is something out of a really cheesy, like, 1940s movie. Look here, doll. I'm a grenade.
I'm a grenade. See?
I'm a grenade, say.
Oh my.
What an incredible line.
God, I hope that music won't get us copyright flagged. I'm pretty sure it's probably public domain by now, but I can't be certain. Oh, man.
What was it? Casablanca music?
Was it Casablanca?
I don't know what it was. I just went on YouTube and looked up film noir jazz, and I found jazz music film noir, and I don't know. I think it seems like, because you know they do the kind of the content ID and they do the buy links. Well, it says buy Chinatown on nowhere. Like,
so it's probably from the movie Chinatown.
Possibly. Artist
Like,
is Nicholas Payton, apparently, was the artist for that.
And Chinatown.
I'm
not going to spoil that movie. Go watch it. It's actually very good. It's a very good old film noir movie. I'm not going to spoil it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's probably
like,
old enough that we can get away with that. We should be all right. Oh, man.
Fingers
oh, my
crossed.
God.
Yeah, but just to clarify for people, people shouting me a chat for this, even though we never actually mentioned it one way or the other. He is sticking around till, I think, the end of the year. But, I mean, I don't know whether or not that's going to be DayZ finished or even in a good state, because, it's still very much its alpha state, and it's got a lot of problems with it, so.
Yeah.
We will see.
Here's what I think. I think he realized it's not going to get better than this and just bailed. He was like, this is as good as we're going to get this thing. I'm going to go with my money and leave.
I think, it again, is another reason why you shouldn't be pouring your fucking money as a consumer into something that's not done. Because we've talked about these horror stories of devs just abandoning games, which has happened in the past. What happens when the lead mind or the lead producer leaves? What happens? Yeah. Because that could be disastrous. Or it could have no fucking effect whatsoever. We just don't know. We have no idea. But doesn't matter, because fuck you, we got your money now because you were dumb enough to buy a pre-alpha for something that's not even fucking close to being finished.
The kids like it, man. The kids like being chased by the zombies.
Desperation genre. Ugh.
No, power trip.
There's actually something interesting on Greenlight, by the way, called Crawl, which is it's a dungeon crawler where your friends control the monsters. One player controls the hero, the others possess monsters and traps to kill him. Destroy the hero and it's your turn to crawl and instantly take their place. Race through to gain enough experience and loot to challenge the dungeon boss, cooperatively controlled by the other players. That sounds like fun. It's apparently really fast as well. Like, you can beat the whole game in like 30 minutes and it's all accelerated. And you can evolve monsters to really crazy... This looks cool. I want this.
Huh.
It's probably not online. It says multiplayer and then local. It says multiplayer and then says local co-op. I don't know if that means online multiplayer or not. I'm probably going to go with maybe not. Which
I thought you were going to say I'm probably going to go with maybe.
No, I don't. It's hard to say, but it seems unlikely that we'll be exploring online multiplayer, but we can't promise anything yet. Okay. All right, well, that sounds like a great concept. So hopefully that'll end up being good. That seems good. It's not. It's less like Dungeon Land. Apparently, it's more of like a kind of side scroller thing. So, and besides, Dungeon Land was 3 versus 1. Here, it's like 1 versus 3. Apparently, where like the hero is versus the guys controlling the monsters, which is kind of neat. Okay, I think that is about it in terms of news. There's nothing in particular I want to talk about. Is there anything else that you guys are? No?
No.
I had to close down that page because every time I looked down, all I saw was "I'm a grenade." Just smiles, just like that is. I just have to close it. I'm done. I can't look at that anymore. That's my hashtag for today. Hashtag I'm a grenade.
Lovely.
Amazing.
Well,
I've got it figured out.
We just provided the latest animated short, so that's gonna happen.
Oh.
It's on a platter, guys.
Yeah,
gave it to you on a platter.
That's an easy one. I think Sabertooth should have no
problem
with
with that. Got a fake smoke. I don't know why this pinky's out here, but it's the 50s. I don't give a shit.
It's metal.
I'll give it. Got a little shocker going on there. Like, welcome.
Well, that's a reference half the chat won't get, at least. But probably for the best.
That's good.
Go look it up.
Don't image search that shit. Lovely. Oh, Jesus.
Thanks for watching the Co-optional podcast.
We're not done yet, damn it. We need to cover release dates.
Oh, that's right.
And then
Coming
plug
out this
stuff.
week, Duger.
Get to it.
What are the releases?
Oh, shit, they didn't get forwarded to you. They only got sent to Lauren. So you can blame Lauren. It's Lauren's fault you didn't get them. Well,
I didn't get them!
Lauren, you're supposed to forward that to my hosts. What the hell's wrong with you? All right, there we go. There you go. There's your stuff.
Oh, okay.
Begin.
March 4th is South Park: The Stick of Truth for PS3,
Indeed,
Xbox
that
360,
being now.
and PlayStation 3 Network.
We should mention, by the way, apparently that has been delayed further in Germany and Austria, probably because of swastikas.
Oh.
So, yeah.
There's lots of Nazis. Lots of Nazis.
So not only is it going to be 3 days later in the EU, as is unfortunately customary for some stupid fucking reason, apparently in Germany and Austria, you're fucked. You're not getting it for a while.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Next up is Hatsune Miku Project Diva for PlayStation Network Vita.
Jesus.
So if you want to be sensational pop star, sensational fake pop star, Hatsune Miku.
Oh, is she the teal-haired one?
Yeah.
I always see her panties on 4chan.
Hologram girl? Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Next up is Master Reboot for PlayStation 3 Network. Which I don't know anything about that.
I saw that's on Steam as well. I think that's been around for a little while, hasn't it? Yeah, it came out last year, and obviously it's now coming to PlayStation 3. It is not a well-reviewed title, unfortunately.
Oh, well then, forget that.
It sounds amusing. You get to upload your soul to dedicated servers and relax that knowing a part of you will live on for eternity. And it's about a world where nobody dies, basically, which is apparently a great theme, but the execution is.
I thought you meant for real. I was like, I
wanted it to legit be like upload part.
Apparently,
of your soul.
it's just a mess. Unfortunately, like it's way too ambitious. That was the general opinion of most critics on that one.
Amazing. Well, next up is Awesome Knots is being ported to the PS4.
Yeah. That's something to actually play on your PlayStation 4. There you go.
Yeah.
You can play a game that has me and Jesse in it on your PlayStation 4. Our characters are kind of good.
Did you know that they have a contest right now where they have like fans can create new costumes for the characters, and TB's character has by far the most costumes.
Really?
By
That's
far.
awesome.
Like the most options for people to vote on. TB's character has. They're all really
Where
silly.
are they?
Mine are like.
I gotta find them.
It's on their Awesome Knots page.
Awesome Knots
it's
sites.
voting on there. I have 2 for my character, and they're both badass, but I wanted silly ones. Nerds.
I'm looking for
Nerds.
skill contest. Yes, contest finalists. Okay. I'm trying
TB
to.
says a lot.
There are quite a few fish ones, I gotta say.
Yep.
There is actually already a TotalBiscuit themed skin that I know exists.
These are legit. Like these are the ones we're gonna vote on, and they're what you can put in the game.
Oh, there's a greaser one. Oh, that's good.
There's a lot of yours, and there's a lot of
Simon.
Ashley Birch's character.
Oh, Ashley.
There's a lot of Ashley Birch's character. Yeah. There's a few Simon, but all the Simon ones are like just spoofs of what Simon already has. If they win, I will be thoroughly disappointed. TB has some very funny ones, like the clown one. Cracked me the hell up.
Oh, this one's. Well, there's one this is Hex Vinny and Spike. This one's actually based on the art that was done for my channel. Remember the TotalBiscuit troll art? Mm-hmm. This one right here, Hex Vinny and Spike. It has it has something that I think that is. It must be based on my hat. It looks very similar to the whole troll thing, but it looks like it's a voodoo Vinny.
Yeah,
like he's got pins in him
awesome.
and everything. That's absolutely fantastic. There's special effects like your pins and hexes and everything coming out. There's a clown Vinny.
I liked how they did all, like, some people were like, this is how this spell should look, and I was like, that's creative too. So they went a little bit overboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The clown Vinny is great. Yeah, this is awesome.
You don't see?
Awesome. Knots.
Ah!
Anyway,
There's actually a
next up,
second voodoo one. Holy shit,
the
this
list
one is. I'm sorry,
is
this.
Dead Nation
Oh no!
Apocalypse.
I'm gonna show this one.
Replace-
This one looks amazing. Look at this shit. It's another voodoo one. Voodoo and Toad. Look at the. There's a talent. Look at the talent.
I knew you'd be pleased. I figured you'd be very pleased with that.
Such talent.
Indeed. All right. Okay. Dead Nation. A new Dead Nation game. Okay.
PlayStation 4.
Yep. So Dead Nation Apocalypse. Dead Nation is a zombie shooter with loot.
Cool.
I don't.
Next
all right,
up
I don't-
is
I played it on PS3 and I didn't. That was not something that I personally really gave a shit about.
Gotcha. Next up is Growl Lancer, Heritage of War for PlayStation 3 Network.
Never played a Growlancer game. Probably never will.
neither. Also, NASCAR 14 for PlayStation 3 Network.
By
And-
Technics, the developers of Ride to Hell Retribution and Warhammer 40,000 Storm of Vengeance.
Nice.
And they're from my hometown.
Oh, good, yeah.
NASCAR. What?
Reppin'.
Fuck those guys.
Get out of here! Get out of here! Rubbin.
Right.
Last
hell.
up for March 4th is Tower of Guns for PC.
Yes. Tower of
It's
Guns.
actually a really fun game.
It's a roguelite first-person shooter. I've been playing it a bit. I'm not sure yet. I don't know about it yet. It's kind of repetitive, but I think it's like all the roguelike games where it's just like progression is the sole reason to play, and the randomization is kind of a big deal. But I don't know. I'll play a bit more and then I'll try and figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this next game for March 5th.
March 5th, the game coming out is Die Hard Dungeon for PC.
It's not what I want it to be, is it?
No, not in any
Die
way.
Hard the Dungeon Crawler?
That'd be amazing. It's not though.
No, what is it though?
Well, it's a
If you
dungeon
look it up
crawler,
and it is
all
John
right.
McClane in a dungeon, I will be so happy.
It's not. Images.
It came out in
Oh.
Desura and then went through. What the fuck, OXM? Well, that's a quote and a half, isn't it? Jesus, that's almost as bad as my Half-Life 3 quote. Apparently, OXM said Die Hard Dungeon is Diablo's worst nightmare.
Oh God.
Yes, I'm sure Blizzard is quaking in their boots at this very moment. Like, I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm still trying to figure out what it is. I mean, obviously, it's a dungeon crawler of some sort.
Bruce
but what's,
Willie?
It's pretty weird though.
What's the?
Bruce Willie and Liam Neeson's?
Oh, is that what they're
That's my
called?
shit. That's my shit.
Oh, so they actually did put action heroes in it in some way.
That's my shit.
Please, for the love of God, stop. Please.
That's one of my favorite skits ever.
God
Liam Neeson's dog.
Oh, dude.
I don't even know what.
One day
any of
that's
that was
gonna be
about.
us, Jesse. We're just
Oh,
gonna get
no,
so
that-
jazzed about something that our
That
heads
is
explode.
me. That is me
Combining
currently.
its own unique take on the real-time roguelike genre with a nostalgic 16-bit look and feel. Oh, great, that's original. Die Hard Dungeon is a game that, so it's been somewhere between Zelda and Binding of Isaac, apparently.
All right.
With randomly generated rooms levels, yeah, there's too many games like that already. So that, I don't know, that to me doesn't interest me in any way. But I will give it a try, and I am prepared to be proven wrong.
On March 6th, we've got Yawhg for PC.
What
Have you
the
played that?
balls is
Have either of you played that yet?
Nope. Have you?
I have it on the iPhone. It
Oh.
is
Any
a interesting game. It's like a, I want to say horror game, but
Oh,
it's
is it the one with the
creepy.
fucking goats?
yeah, it's like got a weird, creepy, not like jump scare vibe, but like what the fuck is
Yeah, it
happening
is the one with the
vibe.
goats. Yeah, that's...
It is really creepy, and it's the music and the background noises. It definitely isn't a game that you can make a jump scare video to.
Oh,
It's a
this
to
game.
play. It's very interesting. It's I played it on a plane and was like, holy shit! It's a good thing I can't hear a lot over the sound of the engine because I'd be freaking balls right now. This like going crazy.
Yeah, I played this on iPad. I didn't
Yeah.
get to play very much of it, but yeah, it's the aesthetic is super interesting in it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's sort of a mazy style game. There's a lot to it. It's very creepy. It's a
I
creepy
I
game.
think the missus beat that. She was like, I don't know what to make of it. So
Yeah.
Well, next up on March 6th is Block Drop U for Wii U. That's all in caps, by the way.
thank God, Wii U is finally getting its killer app that will surely propel it to greatness.
U.
I am very impressed by this.
Not to be outdone by, also in all caps, Gigantic Army.
Gigantic army! That's how it should be presented. In the most British, sort of strongman kind of way. Gigantic army!
There it is. Yeah.
And
That
then,
was much
and
better than
then the
I-
guy who says that just pedals off on a penny farthing, you know? Gigantic army! Pretty much.
And then
I want to try
last but not
Gigantic
least,
Army just because it's Gigantic Army in all caps.
March 7th, we have Postmaster for PC.
What?
That's everything that's coming out this week.
Gigantic Army is a side-scrolling mech shooter, apparently.
I'm trying to figure out what Postmaster is. Literally,
Postmaster
you deliver mail.
game.
Oh my God! Shut up.
Yes.
Nope.
Hey,
Is there some kind of
hey,
overarching communist story like Papers, Please?
I wish
I
that'd be
don't-
interesting.
I don't think so.
You did not deliver mail. You were executed.
Papers,
I wish
Please
that
is
was
in
the
fact
case. It won't be.
the gritty reboot of Paperboy inside an enclosed communist state with closed borders.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are the releases for this week, y'all.
Yep. That's actually not my dog that's howling. That's the dog that is near Dodger.
Ruby.
Indeed. Yep. And of course,
Sweet-
next week,
Sweet Ruby.
everyone will be talking about Dark Souls. Fucking Dark Souls and Titanfall coming out on the same day. You fucking
Yeah.
kidding me? Yep.
They're coming out like at the same time.
Oh dear. Well, thankfully they've made the decision for me because Dark Souls isn't out on PC for another couple of months, so will be
There you
playing
go.
Titanfall and not doing anything with Dark Souls until it comes out on PC. I'd maybe do it if Dark Souls was coming out on like one of the newer consoles, maybe, but I'm not gonna deal with come on, fucking Dark Souls 1 already ran bad enough as it was. Blight Time was a goddamn pain in the ass on PlayStation, so I have no intention of repeating that with even older hardware. No. So
Yeah.
I'll be all over the Titanfall, I think. I enjoyed the beta of that very much. I intend to play the full thing and see whether or not it's any good. And I hope it
wanna
is.
play it for reals.
Yeah, I'd like that to be my new thing. And if it's not, well,
This is gonna be it, TB. This is gonna launch your channel. This is gonna be the series that makes you big.
what?
Fuck you! Then you see it with the heart like,
Where the hell did that come from?
get out of here! Get out of here!
And what everybody's saying. They're like, look, there's no Call of Duty crew anymore. So now everybody's gonna be all about Titanfall.
The
This is
Titanfall
gonna
crew.
be it. This is gonna launch my channel. And I'm like, stop it.
Yeah, you need to stop.
Sorry, what was that?
Stop
was
attaching. I'm going to launch a career off the back of a game I don't have control over. How about you don't do that? And if it does end up happening accidentally, then you thank your fucking lucky stars and try not to lose your audience after a week. That's my advice as someone that did exactly that on Cataclysm. Trust me, Cataclysm was a fucking accident. Any channel that gets big is because it's an accident. Nothing is going to launch your channel. Don't rely on a third-party game to do anything like that. You'll just be disappointed. Play games because they're fun. Make good videos because it's fun. And if you happen to make a career out of it, great. But don't expect it.
But if you don't, fuck off.
Well, it's just
Even
more of a case of
TotalBiscuit.
just don't expect it. You know, it's too random. I'd love to say that everyone gets their sodding YouTube money from on a meritocracy kind of system, but they don't. You know? They don't. It's not about being good. Thank God.
It's not about being good. You get it. All right.
You're
let's
just, all
wrap
right,
this
you're
thing
just
up.
fucking doing this on purpose now.
She's just gonna eat food and just end it so we can stop her GIF creation.
You
Well,
know what I could do? I could very easily fix this by allowing people to look once again upon my fantastic shirt, which, as you can see right here, is available on RodeoArcade.com for $25, which is entirely reasonable as far as I'm concerned. It will ship worldwide, and of course you can buy via PayPal or credit cards, which is always good. $31 bundle, save $4 on the cost of the poster and the t-shirt. RodeoArcade.com is the place to go for that. Nice and easy. easy. We also have some posters and iPhone covers available for Archmage Reckoning, which is a nice little design there. So I am the one who mocks a Breaking Bad reference. If you hadn't already noticed, you've got the Breaking Biscuit thing right there on the poster, which I think is fairly obvious. Nice little modification of the iconic design there. But $25 for a t-shirt seems reasonable. You know, it's yeah, seems all right. RadioArcade.com.
Ruby the dog approved.
Indeed. What's coming up on your channel this week, Dodger?
I have one channel called Press Start to Continue, where I play games and I do a weekly news show. And then I also have youtube.com/dexterity bonus, where every day I drink coffee for 10 minutes and talk to you about my cats. So those are my channels, and you should totally go watch it first. Don't subscribe right away. Just go see if it's your jam. If it's not, I get it. But on all the social medias, I'm at DexBonus. DEXBONUS. So
You're terrible at marketing yourself.
I mean, if it's not your jam, don't watch it.
look, it's like, you know, this is just come hang out. I still get the views, right? So it's fine.
In fact, if you don't subscribe, that means that the trailer will be on autoplay, generating one additional pre-roll ad view.
This guy, he knows what's up.
He gets it.
I live in a world of analytics. It's to be expected. Jesse, what you got coming up?
Hey, do you like South Park? That's all you're getting this week, with the occasional last 3 episodes of Tokyo Jungle thrown in.
Do you like the laziest Let's Play known to man? We've got it right here, as Trey Parker and Matt Stone do 95% of the fucking work.
If you want to see a man take his time and enjoy a game without rushing through it, that's me. If you like watching a guy loot stuff and not get to the story, that's me.
Because I want additional episodes to make sure that I can monetize it with pre-roll, post-roll, and possible mid-roll advertising.
Damn right. And all the episodes are 30 minutes long. That's great. 30 minutes of me going around talking to secondary characters that aren't the main story, but they're funny and you'll love it. And if you don't, you won't watch, so I won't care. Thanks for stopping by, guys. The Jesse Cox. YouTube.com/Jesse Cox. Go there.
Lovely.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
What about you, TB? What's going on in your channels?
Well, I can tell you this.
Yeah.
I just hit the chat with my stick of truth.
What?
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 No?
What?
Nobody? Really? That was pretty good,
What?
I thought.
Did you just say you whack chat with your penis? Is that what you just said?
That's how I took it.
God damn it.
I don't understand.
Is that what you just said to these people? There's like probably 6-year-olds, like families.
I'm pretty sure there's no 6-year-olds watching this show. I fucking
Never
well hope
know.
not.
You
I smell
never
like a
know. There's a lot
sailor.
of bad parents
Well,
out there
look.
that let their kids watch our
This
show.
is where I get my weekly dose
They've
of being
already
able to
seen
swear on the
boobs
internet.
then. So really, it's whatever.
Fuck you guys, that was a good line. On the channel this week, I actually have no idea. No, really, I don't. Like, I'd love to say, hey, I've been planning all of this stuff, but I haven't. Like, I've been trying my best to get sleep in between dogs howling and stuff like that, so I will try and have a look at Gigantic Army. I've got a preview build of Age of Wonders 3 that I can look at, and I'm trying to kind of do that a bit closer to release. I might try Die Hard Dungeon, and I'll probably hate it, just like every other goddamn roguelite that I've been playing lately. I do want to play One Finger Death Punch, so I'll give that a try. That seems interesting. But outside of that, there'll be a little bit of Hearthstone, there'll probably be a couple of content patches. If I run out of things to do, I guess I can look at some more mods. I could go look at the Dark mod, which I have been intending to do. Assuming I can get past the first guard, which so far I've been unable to do because I'm terrible. But I'll have a look at that. Maybe a couple more retrospectives. That kind of thing. And there'll be some StarCraft. At least I know about that. That will happen. Tomorrow I'll be doing a clan war, which is going to be IVD Gaming versus My Insanity. You will be able to find it over at mlg.tv/shoutcraft. And all of the info... MLG. Legitimately MLG. They're the ones sponsoring and broadcasting the event. So that's going to be happening. And then on the 6th... Is it? No. Hang on a minute. I fucked up the times on these. I'm like, I've screwed up my own thread. Yeah, Yeah, sorry, it's actually Evil Geniuses versus Millennium tomorrow. On Thursday? What the hell was I thinking? I thought it was IVD first. No, it's not. Evil Geniuses versus Millennium, which is the big American team versus the big French team. That's going to be happening on March the 6th at 1700 EST, which would be 2 o'clock Pacific and 10 p.m. GMT, 11 p.m. Central European time, midnight Eastern European time, I believe. There you go. So yeah, that's going to be happening. And you might want to watch that because it's going to be a really good match. Game 4 is actually going to be Zedong versus 4GG. So I'd strongly suggest that you watch that. That's going to be a good match. And yeah, there's IVD versus Mind Sanity on March the 10th, and then there's a couple more. You can just check out the thread over at teamliquid.net. You look at the tournaments, you'll find Shoutcraft, and there's also a schedule on mlg.tv/Shoutcraft. And all the VODs will be available on youtube.com/TotalBiscuit, which is my StarCraft channel. And I think that's about it. And I believe I'm doing another lore. Another lore is coming your way.
Oh.
And I believe it is for Titanfall, actually. I'm doing Titanfall's lore, so...
Oh, I'm doing the fast facts for Titanfall.
There you go. So you should be able to find that
it's like
on...
we're working together.
But not. On youtube.com/lore. You know, I can't even see what we've done to him because he's so fucking blurry.
I know, it's true.
If you want video quality, this is the kind of quality you can expect from youtube.com/Jesse Cox. Come check me out. I like to call myself abstract.
It's true. Look, I'll take any promotion I can get. There's no such thing as bad promotion on the internet. I'll take it.
I beg to differ.
/Jesse Cox. Go.
Follow us on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. Twitter.com/TotalBiscuit, Twitter.com/OMFGCata, or Jesse Cox, Twitter.com/DexBonus is the place to go for that. And we are about done, meaning that we should be back at the same time next week at the usual channel, possibly involving a guest. Or possibly not involving a guest. Who knows? Who knows? It's a mystery. We don't plan that far in advance. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Goodbye, goodbye. Go watch our animated episode on youtube.com/Flowers. Goodbye. Buy my t-shirt.